Welcome back to the WatchTower Film Podcast, the film review podcast on the Towercast Network by Cinephiles for Cinephiles. Yeah, there's a bird going.
Squawk! I just saw Napoleon Dynamite yesterday. That's why. I love that movie, dude.
A film we've covered on this podcast.
But that's not the one we're talking about today.
We're not talking about that today. And as you may or may not have noticed, we have a very special guest on the podcast today.
Who?
El tocayo, carnal, with the modelo in his hand, bro.
We got an owl. Who? There are no owls.
But we got
There
Eric
is.
Sanchez.
There is an owl. It's not
thought you
supposed
watched
to
the
be there.
movie.
It's not supposed to be there. Most animals were extinct, and that's why they're trying to determine which ones were fabricated or they weren't.
Oh.
Fun fact.
No, but that was the whole thing. Like,
Was
they were
the
like,
owl real? She confirmed that it's not.
well, she said in the movie.
Yeah, so it's not a real owl.
Yeah, they were like, if I could afford a real owl, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
They considered luxury.
And the snake.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, all fake.
they're all gone.
Did you
We're
get-
back, and I'm Carlos Autora, your humble film servant, offering you a writing, directing perspective.
Yes,
I'm joined
he
by
is.
my fellow co-host, Mr. Michael Lowell,
Hi.
offering a cinematography perspective.
Yep.
All right.
What shirt are you wearing today?
All righty, Roo.
That's a new shirt, dude.
That's
That's,
that
like
Sun
a...
City
it's-
vibes,
no,
you know?
you
That's
know
that
what? It's
like
Vice
Ju-
City vibes.
Yeah, that's like
I'll be
Judas
honest,
coming
I
soon.
had a-
Miami Vice shit.
I had a lot of intention to bring a very, like, Miami outfit. Like,
Why?
you know, because there's, like, what is it, aesthetic called?
Synthwave.
Like synthwave. And like vaporwave, just very like I wanted to be in that aesthetic. So because
This film takes place in L.A.
yeah,
Anyways.
Yeah, dude, I was like, where are you going with it? How is this going to be?
it's that
No,
futuristic.
it's the 80s thing. It's the 80s
Yeah,
kind of retro wave.
futuristic vibe. I was gonna bring some shorts, but then my contractor came and I didn't want him to see me in shorts. Like it just made me uncomfortable. Yeah.
Good call.
It's a really good call. The cameras are really low. And I'm joined by my other
Shorts.
fellow co-host, Mr. Jean-Eric Castro, giving us a
And-
writing, giving us an acting perspective, among other things.
And then to add, the greatest man alive.
Yeah. Eric's here. Joining us today is also Mr. Eric Sanchez, a big advocate for this film and anything
We just
80s, really.
Had to have
Any gritty 80s thing, he's very well aware of.
He is the 80s. Come on.
Yeah, look at him.
See what's up.
Zoom in on that. Mr. Austin Young, make sure we're sounding good on the ones and twos back there.
With his new haircut.
Hi,
Or lack of one.
I'm from Queens.
All right.
You know, I just heard like when you ask for the AC, do you ask? I know. When the AC is like, do you ask to turn up the AC or to turn down the AC?
No,
Turn
there's usually a
down the
first and
temperature.
second AC on set, and don't get them confused. They will punch you, or they'll get a grip to do it.
I guess you turn down the temperature, AC up.
Because I've caught myself saying, "Hey, can you turn up the AC?"
I think that's pretty normal.
Yeah, like turning up the power.
Yeah, you don't say you say turn
you're
down
not-
the temperature. That's
Yeah.
But you say turn up the AC. It
Because you don't
implies
say
get
turn
colder.
down
Say,
the
like,
cool.
lower the temperature too,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
just-
That's what I'm saying. But
Have you ever said it like that though?
no, I mean very
Hey,
rarely.
can you lower? No, I just say, hey, can you turn up the AC?
I think that's okay. That's pretty common. I wouldn't.
Why do you bring that up?
I don't know, because we
It's
just
fucking hot.
yeah.
Yeah, it's hot as fuck. Here.
But anyways,
feel
It's
like in
because
the movie, everyone's
we're
just
starting to
sweaty.
hit our summer episodes where, like, at
Yeah.
night it's really warm and we're just sitting down.
So if
kinda
anybody
like,
out there wants to donate some curtains, we'd really appreciate it.
Yeah, we're looking into it
because
for
we're
sure.
in an non-insulated building.
I may.
And though it's very pretty, it's also very hot.
Yeah.
We're not here to talk about the heat. We're here to talk about the blade. Runner, that is. We're here to talk about Ridley Scott's 1982 Blade
The
Runner.
Last Duel.
Nope. I wish we were talking
Made
about
by
the last.
Really, Scott?
Aw,
Wow.
I'm just gonna have a rough
Where would you
episode.
guys
I can
rank
feel
Ridley
it.
Scott?
This was
Ridley Scott's
no,
up
you're not.
there.
You have enough of a
Yeah.
following on this one.
What would you guys rank this,
I think it's
this
safe.
director?
Oh, Ridley Scott's up there, man. Ridley Scott's got some shit to
I'm
say.
a big fan of the aliens, all of them, dude. This guy is on the top of my
He did the
list.
what? First two?
No, he did the first one.
The first one.
Prometheus and Alien Covenant.
Ah, see, this guy. That's why we brought
You gotta
him
get
in,
the
bro.
mic closer to you, buddy.
You gotta really
Is that better?
get it
Is that
in.
bad
you
at
know?
people?
Just grab
I don't
the
know,
mic.
man. I also like the shit that like is unconventional from him. I guess I like that about most directors, like David Fincher. I like The Martian. You know, I
Yeah.
like The Last Duel. So I like his kind of unconventional shit. I don't love his sci-fis.
Before Blade Runner, which one did he make?
Alien.
Alien came out in 80 or 79?
79.
Blade Walker. Got to walk before you can run.
This was Ridley Scott's first American movie, and
A real American
very,
movie?
very, very unpleasant set experience.
Oh,
and
really?
To this day, they have a lot of drama.
Really?
But we'll get into that. Mr. Michael Allow picked this film, so tell us why.
Yeah.
This was a request, and whoever requested it, I apologize in advance. We get into this. We get into this, so don't take
Yeah.
it personal. But tell us why.
Can I take the episode off?
No, what?
Why?
It's just nobody's going to love the film. And
Hey,
I
no,
can't
no,
take
no.
that right now.
Hey.
Ridiculous. A
What
lot
you
of
have to
people
say
love
is
this fucking movie,
probably the only thing
man.
we want to hear.
Genuinely.
Yeah.
You might have some new perspective for us. That's the point of this podcast.
Dude, the
No.
aesthetics.
I will
visuals.
say,
Say it.
I think it did a lot. I think this film did a lot.
Okay, before you say
Thank
whatever
you.
you were about to
we
say,
need,
this is a request film from one of my coworkers.
It is.
Shout out
Okay.
to Danny
Danny.
with an I,
Yo, Danny.
not a Y.
Danny.
Danny.
Female Danny.
There's a B. Michael with a B. So yeah, this was a request from Danny. She absolutely loves this. This is her number one film of all time.
Okay.
Loves the aesthetic. And then she asked if we're going to do a two-parter because she says Blade Runner 2, there is so many parallels from the first one and it pays off in so many
Listen,
ways.
I've heard that the second one's better. Like, but genuinely, I've heard
Well,
that.
this is
Is
what
it-
I heard from her, and I'll say this real
I
quick.
haven't seen it, so I wouldn't.
I'll
Yeah, me
say she says that the first one, she understands the gripe with just how slow burny it is, especially like we watched.
Second one?
No, the first one.
Oh, okay, I was gonna-
the
yeah.
first one, it's so slow burny, and it's we watched the final cut, which was a little bit longer. But really,
So
thought
what
it
was the
wasn't.
difference between this one?
essentially where he let the scenes breathe. I mean, Ridley Scott. There's a
But it was-
really crazy
I think
trajectory.
the unicorn thing was also
The unicorn was a
added.
big deal. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff, guys. Like from the initial theatrical cut to the 1992 quote unquote director's cut, which is not his director's cut. They just slapped that on there. Yeah, in fact, one of the other producers took over it because he was busy on another film, and he kind of oversaw it, and they got it pretty close to what he was trying to do. But it wasn't until 2007 that the world really got to see Ridley Scott's version, which is the one we saw today.
Yeah, the
that was
final
really
cut.
his final. I mean, one of the first iterations had voiceovers. The theatrical cut has voiceovers
Yeah, at the
that
beginning
are
I
kind
saw
of that are
when he's
kind of
eating at
bad.
the-
I mean, well,
was kinda, yeah.
yeah. It does, but that was the studio. Man, I'm telling you, Ridley Scott went through some shit to make this one. So kind of
Well,
my
their
respects to him.
justification, her
Yeah.
justification is just that this one did a lot to build the world, really get
Absolutely.
you in there. Because I
Yeah.
mean, that's a big highlight for me when we talk about this film is how much it puts you in, Deckard's world, and
Sure.
everything that he's going through. The second one focuses more on the story because then now we're leaning into this whole question of where did they run off to, what's going to happen to them,
Yeah.
and is he real? Or is he a replicant? And
felt like
what
is
is
he a
it?
man or is he a Muppet?
Yeah, man or a Muppet. And that even is brought up kind of here where like, does it matter? Like, what does it mean to be alive? And like, does something become less real just because it was created a different way? So yeah, she loves this film. I think there's a lot to talk about, positive and negative. I will preface it by saying that we've screened a lot of movies on the podcast.
Yeah.
And that's become a very interesting conversation for us because we're always having to adjust our opinion. Because maybe if we had seen this at the top of the podcast like series, it's really high up there because it does so much. But there's
I
so
see what you're
many,
saying.
there's so much cinema that's come before it and after it that we do have to question that. Even the fact that like the sequel is won an Oscar.
Well,
and,
I mean,
was
Denis
really praised.
Villeneuve is obviously really coming to his own, and you see that a lot even in his latest film, in Dune 2. And again, a director that isn't necessarily my favorite, but you can't deny what they can do. And Ridley
Yeah.
Scott is very much that as well. I mean, I wouldn't put Ridley Scott in my top 5, but is he one of the greats in terms of just kind of the history of cinema? Absolutely. He's done a lot for cinema. Specifically for these types of films in this genre, right?
sci-fi.
Anything that's world building too, right? I think and he kind of stacked on top of it. I think this film hit me a little different this time around because I recently watched Metropolis. And there's a lot of Fritz Lang shit in here, especially in the set design. And it's pretty cool that you get somebody who's going to build on top of something that was released fucking 100 years ago.
Who's the guy who directed Brazil?
Oh man, what's his name? It's not Wim Wenders, right?
No. Austin, director of Brazil with De Niro, right?
I don't know. I've never seen that one.
Yes.
I've been curious to watch it, but like
1985. Terry Gilliam.
Whoa, what is
I don't like
this?
Terry Gilliam. I need to be convinced of Terry Gilliam.
Really?
Yeah, man. What I've been exposed to his. I mean, he did Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, which was cool. I like that one.
Gilliam
I
film?
start
That's
seeing
Gilliam
this.
film.
12 Monkeys is pretty good too.
I haven't seen 12 Monkeys, but like I saw some of his
It's a
newer
thinker.
shit, like one called Song of Song or Song of Song, something like that. No. And I didn't dig it.
Oh, The
But-
Imagination of Dr. Panett. That was pretty good.
Yeah, I didn't see that one. Either.
Yeah, that's when who passed away? Somebody passed away. Oh, Heath Ledger. And they had to replace him with Johnny Depp, Jude Law, and
Oh,
they
my
did a
goodness.
really good job. Yeah.
I mean, he's known as one of the greats too, especially for like obscure cinema. By the way, he comes from Monty Python. Like he was one of the Monty Python guys, and then came out to be this kind of auteur of obscure cinema. So again, I respect the guy, but just like Pedro Almodovar, man, when I saw Pedro Almodovar films at the beginning, I hated them, and recently I watched a couple, like just to kind of try to give it another shot. Whoa, holy shit! Like I missed something. So. Again, that's how I went into this film because I'd seen it once before. I saw it over the pandemic, and I remember walking away really underwhelmed. I remember like, okay, that was cool for world building. Other than that,
That's what I thought too.
okay.
When I
Cool.
first saw it the first time on TV, one of the first couple of minutes, I was like, I like the world building. I'm fast. I'm a sucker for anything in world building.
Here's
especially,
my
like,
question, real quick before we get into ratings. Do you feel like you had a different interpretation of what you thought the film was going to be coming into it, and that's why you were like maybe underwhelmed, that you thought it was going to be more of a thrillery action futuristic thing, and it ended up being very, very like
I did
subtle?
the first time.
Yeah, it was a slow burn. I came into it thinking it was gonna be kind of like Fifth Element.
Yeah,
you know,
I
meets little
Fifth Element, RoboCop type of shit.
RoboCop.
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
that. This
I
And
expected
dystopia
if
that
anything,
type of,
this is trying to be closer to something like Chinatown, you know?
Yeah, it is. It is.
yeah, that's a pretty good way. So yeah, I guess that kind of made me kind of like not really like it.
weary about
But
it.
Chinatown had characters. I'm sorry. Although it is, I love what it's trying to do with neo-noir. I love that. It's cool. It's cool.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for anybody else's interpretation of what the future's gonna look like.
Yeah.
Even if it's cringy,
That's
too
fair.
far-fetched, I am in.
But I mean, the future is not
This
supposed
also
to be
took
a.
place in 2019. The film takes place in 2019.
Yeah,
And
So-
I don't think it's trying to be. And this will be my last point, and then we'll get into ratings. I don't think it's trying to give an interpretation of what the future's heading towards.
it's making a commentary
it's-
on humanity now.
Yeah, it's making a commentary on humanity and what it is to be human and what else. What?
No, I know what you mean, but
it's because that. But no, okay. I love that you guys are talking about this because though you're joking, this is where the audience stands. As I've read, the audience stands split on like the fans who love it for its world building and its design and its elements of the future and its creativity, and then the fans who love it for its play on existentialism and its play on humanity. So you guys are right on the money in terms of in terms of what people
yeah, but
like
obviously
about
we
this.
gotta explore the whole humanity. The morals of that for sure.
Who do you want to go first, buddy?
Let's go clockwise from me. So Austin, I know you don't have
Are you
a
gonna go first, or is Austin gonna go first?
not
we
available.
Like the film, bro.
That's
He
fine.
doesn't have a mic.
That
if you want to tell us the rating,
No,
we'll call it out.
it's fine. He doesn't have a rating at this time.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, Eric.
I would give it a pretty like 8.7, 8.8.
8.7, okay.
Out of 10.
Yeah.
Don't
I'm kind
you
of glad
dare.
you went there.
Don't you
Kinda glad you
dare.
went there.
Don't you start this episode. I will slap you.
I want to see that. With me, dude, I started off with like an 8.0.
Wait. Were you doing a Chris Tucker?
Which
I thought you were doing a Chris Tucker. I'm sorry. I thought you were doing. We'd love to see that. We'd love to see that, Jake.
Dude, I wish I should have got that.
Okay, I'm sorry. Anyways.
No, I would have given it an 8, but that last scene with that his monologue about when he saves him, and then he just kind of crumbles like a.
You didn't love
that? No, I love that. That was like the only thing I loved.
Whoa, but you said you would have given it an 8.
Oh no, yeah, I was gonna give it an 8, but then I'll give it like an 8.3.5.
Just because of that scene.
Yeah,
That was an improvised scene, by the way.
It brought everything together, the arc of everybody. I was like,
That was an improvised scene.
oh really?
That line about like tears in the rain, all that was
nah.
yeah, it was
Yeah, it was
improvised.
improvised by the actor.
See, that's really.
Yeah, in fact,
It's just
they
too
did
good.
They did a bunch of takes beforehand, right? And they just weren't getting it. And,
Oh, the guy wasn't feeling it, so he just like
Yeah.
give me something more.
That dude, man, that actor had a lot. I don't know how. I don't know if he slept with Ridley Scott. He had a lot of like power on this film. Like
Really?
he like well, according he wrote an autobiography, and then the biography talks about the making of the film.
No, did he? For real?
Yeah. No, but he basically says like I suggested this scene, I suggested that
Oh,
scene,
wow.
like I
For an actor
suggested
just to
changing
have that-
this or changing that, and yeah, that never happens. Harrison Ford was a big star. He probably, but they fucking hated each other, man, on set.
Really?
Harrison Ford and Ridley Scott, not the actor, but he had a lot of power on this thing. Rutger Hauer, who
I
plays
also heard
Batty.
that
Rutger
Harrison
Hauer.
Ford's just very difficult to work with.
Yeah, I don't doubt it for a second.
I've heard of that. Yeah.
Like, I don't know if you guys heard that he shot one, I think it was like Call of the Wild or something like that, where it's supposed to be him with a husky.
Oh
out
yeah,
in
yeah,
the
it's
wild.
fairly new, right?
Yeah, and it came out I think last year or the year before.
Call
And
of the Wild.
yeah, and what happened is that they wanted to cast him in this film, and it takes place in Alaska, and it takes place with these like huskies, and they like save him. He didn't want to work with dogs. He didn't want to go to Alaska. He
Damn.
says, if you want to film it, you have to film it here in California. So they did. And in fact, instead of using like a dog, they had this guy on like dog
No,
stilts.
man.
Yeah, and he had to like go around the entire shoot pretending to be the dog. And Harrison,
four?
because Harrison did not want to work with animals.
I don't doubt it for a second. I don't doubt it for a second that Harrison Ford is difficult to work with, especially in his older age. What I don't see fully is that I also don't see somebody like Steven Spielberg being a pushover. And he made 5 Indiana Jones, you know? 4 of them being directed by Steven Spielberg. So I don't see Spielberg being a pushover. And if Harrison, maybe he just loves Spielberg and he'll like trust him a little more
Yeah.
and he'll do what he says. But you don't have a partnership like that and
be tough to work with.
be
yeah.
tough to work with,
Yeah.
you know. And I
What
feel like
about
maybe
Die
it just
Hard?
depends.
What?
Was he tough to work with, Bruce Willis?
yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I didn't know
Bruce Willis apparently is like a major asshole on set.
Well, now he doesn't remember. So
that. No, I heard Tommy Lee and
Tommy Lee.
yeah,
Oh, Tommy Lee Jones. Yeah,
Tommy
yeah,
Lee
yeah, yeah.
Jones and
His name's Lee, goddammit.
Actually, with this one, Hollywood Homicide with Josh Hartnett, they told him that they had a tough
Oh, are
time.
you just mad because of what he said about Jim Carrey or to Jim Carrey in his face?
Yeah,
Yeah,
partially.
That's what you guys know about that
Yeah.
in Batman. Basically, the day before production was going to start, they were at a restaurant. And Jim Carrey went over to Tommy Lee Jones.
Tommy
and was
Lee
like,
Jones.
hey man, like fucking. And then he got to a point where like he knows Tommy doesn't like him, so he's like, "What's up, man? Why don't you fucking like me?" You know. And Tommy Lee Jones' exact words were, "I cannot sanction your buffoonery,"
Yeah,
and never
buffoonery.
talk to him again.
Really?
Word for word.
I cannot sanction your
Yep,
buffoonery.
that was Tommy Lee Jones to Jim Carrey. I cannot
You could just
sanction your
tell the
buffoonery.
character, you know.
Yeah. Woohoo. But
Don't you dare, Carlos.
dare.
But-
That's strike 2.
I'm sorry. Now,
But you give me the word. It might turn it. This tell the audience what's going on.
No,
Okay.
no, man,
Yes,
we're
I'm gonna
watching Blade
expose
Runner.
it because-
we're watching
Expose
Blade
me?
Runner.
Yes,
I
because
feel like that I was going to come behind with a camera like cheaters, you know?
I know how right now he's just like, look what this guy's doing.
We're talking about cinema, not basketball.
because we're not watching NAB updates while we're talking about your film pick.
Just to let
Yeah.
you guys know,
Oh, I see what you
we're recording
Yeah.
on a Tuesday at 7 o'clock.
Like, okay.
You know which game is on.
Playoffs, baby, playoffs. My team never makes it to
We're-
the playoffs, and here we are.
Yeah, and Black Magic just had an update, and if we did Weir episode,
We did stop in the middle of the episode.
We did.
we didn't do it during the episode.
In the middle of the episode.
We didn't.
Yes, we did.
No, we
Go get
didn't.
another
Stop
beer.
in the middle of the episode.
I kind of want another
And then
beer.
you're like,
If you
I
do,
called
get me
it.
one, bro.
Huh?
If you
Yes,
go, get
there's
me one.
footage of this. Anyways, moving on.
Moving on.
Yeah, so in case you
Yes,
want to know,
please.
the game is on in the background because the Mavericks are, it's fourth quarter.
We're
It's
not
playoffs.
only film fans, but we're basketball fanatics.
Speak for yourself.
I'm here to talk about Blade
To be
Runner.
honest, I do like Space Jam, so
The first one, right? Not the second one, right?
There's a second one.
Exactly.
No, in all seriousness, though, I was really, really curious to revisit Blade Runner because I wanted to see if I missed something, and I guess I'll tell mine. You stood at an 8.6, correct?
8.3.
8.3. I'm sorry.
8.3.
8.3.
And you, Carlos?
I don't think I'm gonna be as forgiving, man, and I feel a little more confident. I feel a little more confident
After screening the final cut?
after screening the and that's a good point. I think I saw the theatrical. I honestly think I saw the theatrical before. So maybe that's part of it. But the final cut didn't do all that much more for me.
Yeah.
I feel more confident in my rating and in my answer because I read something right before we rolled in my research. That made me feel a lot better about my opinion of this film.
Hey.
Movie sucks.
I wouldn't go as far as saying it sucks, but it
Yeah.
it didn't do anything for my sensibilities, and you know that's just where it's at. I also think films like these, specifically in the 80s, were the start of a movement that got way out of fucking hand in today's society.
What do you mean?
Effects?
All plot, no character, and because of things like effects, because of things like it really just skyrocketed into how pretty can we make it look and how less.
That's what I'm
The
scared that
least amount of substance can
That
we.
the sequel's like.
Well, I heard the sequel's better. I heard the sequel has more character, and he even kind of confirmed it right now.
Yeah, it's more focused on the story compared to
The world building.
yeah, this one is just super, super heavy on the world building, you know?
Okay, I'm digging that.
Which is, it's an interesting play because isn't that also how people felt about the first Dune? Denis Dune?
Yeah.
Like it was like world building, slow, boring. And then the second one was like, whoa, you know.
it's all
so,
story,
you know.
yeah.
Yeah, so I think that's
I
an
guess you gotta
interesting
do that
take.
every
Also,
year.
but fun fact, speaking of Dune, Ridley Scott was supposed to direct the 1984 Dune, and then or 84, 74.
Yeah,
And then he dropped out.
the one by Lynch, right?
Yeah.
Oh my
Lynch
God.
replaced Ridley Scott.
And it's so funny because Lynch even goes on to talk like, what are your regrets? Dune.
Dune.
yeah.
But
Am I
he
the only one that
got
doesn't like it?
he got
This one and the
shat
new
on.
one? Dune?
What?
Am I the only one that doesn't like the first one and the second one?
Oh, the first one I can understand, but the new ones, oh, dude, they're good.
You thought they were just
Fantastic.
pretty.
They're
with-
hard. Like, there's like so many species, and it's hard to keep up.
And so does
first of
Star
all.
Wars, so
No, but the Star Wars at least has a little bit more of a base, you know. But this one just
Got the popcorn bucket.
that was even worse, bro.
it was too much teeth.
It's just too much. Like it's too much.
I love the Love's laughter.
God.
No, but in all seriousness, okay. My rating is at about a 7 right now.
I thought it would be lower.
Yeah, no, it's at about a 7. I mean, it's got.
You know it's lower. You just
No, I think I'm at about a 7. I like the world building. I think it's
Yeah.
interesting. I think it's interesting what he did.
the way they lit it.
And he didn't half-ass it either, you know. And by the way, Ridley Scott has the SAG strike to thank of the time. They went on strike and they delayed production. And in the delayed production, they basically had 9 months of pre-production, and over 400 carpenters, set designers came in and had time to build sets, and it didn't cost them money because they were on strike. You know, they were basically waiting.
Oh, wow.
So they had a lot of time to build these sets, to kind of come together and really build this world out.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's probably what every filmmaker should do, especially with a film of this scale.
Yeah.
But Ridley had a lot of help from Lady Luck, you know, in that regard. But yeah, I'm at a 7 right now. I can understand how this pushed cinema forward and the scale of these types of films. But one of its predecessors, like I mentioned earlier, if you watch Metropolis, which I hope we cover on this podcast also, I think it had a lot more to say with less resources. It was more story. It was more character. It had a bigger, better, in my opinion, commentary on humanity and where we're headed. And that film was made in 1924, man. I mean, so like, you know, even just the aesthetic, man. And it was a black and white picture. Like, I don't know. I think Fritz Lang did a better job at what Ridley was trying to do in this, but that's just my opinion. So I'm at a 7.
Okay.
I'll talk about the commentary that I read later that gave me a little more confidence about my rating.
Better than what I was gonna give it if I did give it.
Oh, yeah?
Wow. I mean, I didn't hate it that bad. I love it.
That's my point, right? I
Terrible.
couldn't hate it. It had merit. But was it this amazing thing? I don't think so. I think it's a little overrated, to be honest with you. The thing about it, too, is that the weird kind of aspect is that Eric, you would have loved to live in the year of 1982, dude. The week that this film premiered was the week that it was put up against The Thing and E.T. So The Thing and Blade Runner bombed because of E.T. You know, also a lot of people screamed, you know, the film, and even with the voiceovers and even with everything, like they were fucking confused with Blade Runner.
It was a little confusing,
You know,
man.
and the studio hated, you know, they kind of resented Ridley for that because like nobody got it. So it's a weird kind of thing. But my point with that is that both The Thing and Blade Runner, in my opinion,
Underappreciated.
they're I don't know. I think they're overrated.
No,
Not
they're-
The Thing. I like The
They
Thing
were
a lot better than this one.
underappreciated at the time.
Oh, sure, absolutely, yeah, of course. But that's when films turn into cult films, right?
Ooh.
These have a massive cult following,
Yeah.
especially amongst like horror enthusiasts,
Yeah.
and sci-fi enthusiasts. But I think they're aptly rated. I think having a cult following is great, and they do deserve a cult following. Are they this cinematic kind of masterpiece thing? I don't know about that.
I put Blade Runner in the cinematic, like it definitely contributed.
I don't
to
know why
other-
I feel like I put The Thing over it.
But
You know, like if we're
you don't think like who directed The Fifth Element? don't think
it's the dude who directed Romeo and Juliet.
I'm not sure actually. I don't know.
Yeah, it was the
isn't
same
it?
director as Romeo and Juliet. No, what's his name?
But I'm saying, like, don't you think he sprinkled a little bit of this and that? Like, it gave a lot.
Yeah,
to
dude.
to
Blade
cinema.
Runner had inspired so many.
No, it
shit
did.
After,
It absolutely did. Of course. I mean, like even Christopher Nolan lists Blade Runner as the film that influenced the
And
most.
That's what like, we have to see it like that. That's
even-
what it was trying to do.
Fun fact.
Poltergeist.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
Fun fact.
Wait, I thought Toby Hooper did Poltergeist.
I thought
came out that year?
Spielberg produced it, right?
It's what came out that year, right, Austin?
That month.
That
Oh,
month.
sorry.
Oh, dear God.
Bambi?
Bambi. Oh, it's a re-release. Monty Python.
That shit that was older than that.
I know.
Oh, it is. It's a re-release.
To
No, but
Panky Panky.
fun fact. They were having a hard time picking a name for the title for this film. This film's based on a book called
Do androids dream of
Electric Sheep.
Oh, they should have kept it like that.
That's a cool title.
Yeah.
They changed the book
A little
quite
wordy,
a bit,
but-
though. They cut out a lot from the
Yeah,
book.
it's not heavily like from
Yeah.
the book, but
Yeah.
inspired.
And apparently one of the names that Ridley Scott wanted was Gotham City. And he talked to DC at the time, the comics, right? Because they weren't really making films just yet. And he basically, well, not any good films.
Yeah.
And he basically talked to the one who had the rights for the Batman comic books and was like, can I buy the name? I want the name Gotham City for my film.
Yeah.
And they were like, fucking no. Like, no. So he ended up going back to Blade Runner. Blade Runner is the title they got from another book.
Blade Runner.
Another book that had virtually nothing to do with this book, but they
there's
liked the name.
there's
They just
no
liked the
meaning?
name.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, not really. What's the weird kind of connective tissue there is that Christopher Nolan went on to do Batman Begins, and the biggest inspiration for Batman Begins was Blade Runner.
Oh, the noir style type of, yeah.
I mean, that's what Batman is, right? He's this
Just
noir
dark,
vigilante,
gritty,
you know.
yeah.
So that's where Nolan kind of got his inspiration, and he notes not only Ridley Scott but Blade Runner as probably his most influential
See?
film.
You just contradicted yourself.
How?
You just said that it didn't contribute anything to cinematic history.
No, I didn't. I said that I don't think it's doing
Run it
anything
back.
for my sensibilities.
Do we have a chance?
Is it this masterpiece above the air? No, I don't. I don't think so, personally.
I think it's flirting with it. I think
I think it's right. It's flirting with it. It's not it, and that's what I mean.
I think because
For cult followings, fuck
Did
yeah,
you catch
dude.
it when it first came out? Well, obviously not, but like, did you catch it when you were young?
When I was like a kid and shit, no, I never really had any
you in your
interest in it.
mom's womb.
Yeah. I never really had an interest in it. I saw
that's
it
probably
because it was a
why.
bucket listing. In fact, you know why I saw it? Because my brother bought me a poster of like where you scratch off with a quarter of the films you've seen.
Oh, okay.
You guys remember I used to have it at my grandma's house?
You
Yeah.
did that?
And one of the films was Blade Runner. I was like, all right, fuck it. It's it's pandemic. I have time. I'm gonna throw it on. And when I threw it on, again aesthetically it was cool. I don't know, man. I found myself just going to my phone a lot. I found myself just
The
kind
story
of being
is
taken out a
lacking.
lot and stuff like that. And it's a problem
way they
because
talk.
it is one of those films that if you're not fucking paying attention, you will get lost like this. And that's the weird, funky part, right?
And then
You're not
it'll-
keeping me engaged enough to give a shit, and when by the time I'm trying to give a shit, I don't understand because I wasn't paying
Because
attention.
in a lot of scenes, they don't give you a lot of explanation. Like,
And I guess
what
that's the
happened
point, right?
after he
They
shoots him?
they don't
Yeah.
have to an extent, right?
No, I
They
get
already
it,
kind of
but-
set up the world, but
I don't know. It was
Yeah.
just too loose.
it is. But again,
I do think that also it's a tactic that more experimental films will use.
Absolutely.
Like a slow burn, because in those moments,
I'm not okay. Let me say something right off the bat. I'm not killing the slow burn factor.
yeah.
That's not what turned me off to it. I think the slow burn thing works for it. It's this.
I need a little pickup at a
That's
certain point.
That's how noir films work, though. That these hard-boiled 1940s kind of inspired noir films. That's what they are. You know, even the Billy Wilder ones we saw, like Double Indemnity and Ace in the Hole, like they're
They're a little faster. They're a little
think so?
more to
What's
the punch.
the Big Sleep, the Humphrey Bogart one. That's a big one where it's slow burn. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know.
What's the element that you feel like is the while watching the film, you're like reaching for your phone, you're just kind of losing the connection.
question. What
is
was-
it? The fact that you're not intrigued by the character, you're not intrigued by the plot. I
know
mean,
what's
I
coming.
think all
Also-
of the above. I mean, the problem is that it's not. I think in my personal sensibilities, I think Eric, and you're gonna hate me, and I want you to chime in on this because you're obviously you two are bigger fans of this film, and friends of yours are bigger fans of this film, so you guys might have a different take. But this
Yeah.
is my take. I think it's not plot heavy enough to be plotty, and it's not character enough heavy to be charactery. I think it sits in this weird limbo where it doesn't know what it wants to be.
oh man,
You know, because it's not plot point. Let's get to the point. That's what an action thriller is, right? It's not
Yeah.
character development because we don't know enough about Deckard to give a shit.
No,
we're starting off with him basically, and I think it's a cool opening of him just like eating the food and kind of sitting in this, kind of putting us in this world. I don't know, man. I think it sits in a weird limbo. I don't think it's trying to be one thing or the other, and it doesn't have to be. You're right. Experimental cinema tends to take this kind of role,
Yeah.
but even experimental cinema is going to lean into experimental cinema. It's not going to try to be one of these three options. You know, yeah, I don't know.
Is it filming enough to be filmed?
The only reason I think this belongs in the you know, whatever, let's call it the 1,000 films you watch before you die, like the book. The biggest reason I think is because it set up what cinema was going to be in the next 30 years.
Beautiful.
You know?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
And again, somebody like Denis Villeneuve, who I don't really like as a director, is proving that cinema can be both. He's not the first one. Spielberg's done it. You know, Ridley Scott's done it multiple times. But there's a way to go about it. And I don't think this one did it. I think this one was a cool, like, hey, this is what it could be. But it didn't set up a story as much as it set up a world. If this was the first episode of how we kind of consume stories now, right? And by we, I mean society. You know, if this was a series and this was the first 2 episodes of the series, all right.
Yeah, we
All
got
right.
all the info.
All
Now
right.
it's yeah.
But as a kind of completed, cohesive film, I don't know. I mean, did any of you feel satisfied with that ending, or with? And I'm not looking for a happy ending, but did any of us feel anything with that ending? I didn't.
It was needed just, you know, for it to get.
And I love
a good-
ambiguity in endings, man. But this was okay. The biggest point of conversation in this film is, was he a replicant or wasn't he, right? That's what he's kind of dealing with, especially towards the end.
Right.
What most people don't pay attention to is the origami figures that Edward James Olmos' character's putting throughout the film. There's 3 of them.
by the way, I gave it an 8.7.
8.7.
Continue your point.
I'm sorry.
Oh shit, that's right, dog. We thought we started
Yeah,
with you.
You're right. That's where my head was.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Why an 8.7?
Yeah. Why an 8.7?
It's good.
No, why is it good? Nobody gave it above a fucking 8 here. I just want to point that out.
I'm about to watch this podcast.
No,
just
well,
waiting
the
for
reason
you.
is because I recognize how it's not gonna appeal to most people. Because
That
it's-
shouldn't go into your
No,
scoring.
but
I
it
mean,
is because people are gonna think it's boring. It's just that
What do
they're-
you think, though?
I think it's great. I thought it was a good cyberpunk noir film. Mm-hmm. The first,
I think
One of the first
it's
story
the
was strong
first-
enough.
It's
One of
first
the
of its
first, for sure.
kind. It's
There
like,
we go.
It's
Yeah.
what really like it
I kind of invented
it
a genre,
paved
right?
the path for that genre. 'Cause that's a
Yeah.
genre on its
I
own.
agree. I agree.
And there's a whole fucking RPG role playing.
Okay, that being said, by the way, I need you to tell me about the video game of this because apparently the video game continues the story.
It's a video game?
There's a fucking yeah. That's what I read. That the 1987 video game, I think.
Oh, the one before the Cyberpunk, like
it
before the
doesn't
new
count,
one.
But
It doesn't. Well, I
it's-
heard that story wise, it does like drives. It's like
mean-
a
Oh,
that's
side
interesting.
kind of.
It's like when they made Goonies 2 on NES. There's no
Oh
Goonies
god,
2.
yeah.
I still play it.
Well, anyways, knowing that we pick our ratings based on what we think, not what the world should or shouldn't think. What do you rate it as a
What did I
fan?
say originally? Like 8.7, I think?
Yeah.
You said something like that. 8.7.
Yeah, because like, I don't know.
That's
I-
okay.
I will
Usually,
say-
our answer to like that's what I rate it is because we've seen cinema that we love more.
Right.
You know that tends to be a 9 or a 10 or
I
whatever.
think whenever we rate things like around an 8 point something, usually it's because we can see a lot of great elements.
Yes.
But there is a shortcoming. I think in this one, the shortcoming does come in the plot elements and the fact that it doesn't explore more of it. Like, it's just very world dense. And I mean, they do everything to get you involved in this world and involved in the
Yeah,
people.
because like the world or sort of already just exists. It does, they don't explain what they're doing in outer space, like in that.
Yeah, and
right?
I think
Yeah.
that's
And,
there's
like,
some merit to
there-
but
there
neither
is-
does Dune.
they're expecting you to like,
I hate that
this is the world. That's it. Don't question it. You know, like
And usually I like that. Usually I like that the filmmaker will take that risk. But I
I
place
don't.
I place this film somewhere in between these two. Okay, when it comes to something like Star Wars, right? Star Wars is palatable. And that's one of the things it's trying to be the most. It's trying to be palatable. It's trying to be cohesive. It's using exposition to drive the story forward. It's using a little bit of character building to kind of get you engaged and invested. That's kind of like the beginner's course, right?
yeah.
And then you have something like Back to the Future, where Back to the Future did exactly what this did.
Whoa.
World build,
Uh-huh.
but you care about these characters. It's moving the plot forward. There's not one dull moment in Back to the Future.
Oh, thank you.
Right? And the slightest. In fact, Quentin Tarantino called it a perfect film.
It is.
Okay? That's where I think Blade Runner
We're
sits
gonna
in
use
between.
Quentin as our basis for perfection.
Bro, let him talk.
No, but I mean, I do agree with not, I wouldn't say it's a
talking
perfect
poetry
film, but
to
I
me right
do
now.
agree that in this spectrum of futuristic sci-fi, I think Star Wars is like, yeah, cool. Star Wars was great world building, what have you, at least the first three. And character is kind of there, but it keeps me engaged. I don't get bored of Star Wars.
The character is kind of there. Character. Well,
Kind of there, yes. Kind of being the operative word. I don't think it's a full-fledged character build. No, I don't.
not even for the main ones, or you're talking about like the.
I'm talking about the first three. What? I don't.
Please comment.
I-
Anybody watching this that's a Star Wars
Well,
fan, comment.
I
on this
don't
guy.
think so.
Here's a question
I
I
don't
have,
think so.
And you know, let's kind of go into the elements of
Yeah.
film.
Yeah.
This one I feel like leaves you with a lot more questions.
Yeah.
And it leaves you with a lot more kind of like, you could call them holes, but it's not so much holes in the characters or story. To me, it's almost like it's like puzzle pieces missing.
Yeah.
It's like something that the audience is then given the opportunity to kind of explore more into. And I know
I
that there's
dig that.
cinema that's been
But-
that can do that effectively,
Yeah.
leaving you wonder like an easy one is like Inception,
Sure.
where the top's still spinning at the end,
Right.
and really it's meant to leave you there like, is it real? Is it not? You know, and it leaves you that again that empty puzzle piece.
Good example.
And I respect that. I really do. And I even respect even more that Ridley Scott basically told the press, this is a piece of entertainment. That's all I want it to be. I'm not trying for this to be some intricate piece of anything. It's just a piece of entertainment. I respect that he's leaning into that, but I guess my gripe with it is that, oh, dude, you set yourself up for these great kind of human moments that people can really ask themselves questions.
Yeah.
And we are instead of reaching that finish line, we're kind of asking ourselves questions of the missing puzzle pieces.
Yeah, but,
right? Kind of like you say. I kind of have a gripe with
When
that.
is that good and when is that bad? Because
Yeah.
there are films and
Yeah.
I guess where I lean that it's good is that you believe so much in the world and the setting in these characters and
immersed,
pieces.
sure.
Yeah, you're
There's
really immersed.
There's a great sense of
Where
immersion
then,
in this, for sure.
All the questions afterwards are things that you'll keep coming back to this film trying to piece together. And then once you've pieced together
Yeah.
what you feel is a foundation, then you're left to piece together your interpretation on morality and ethics. And I feel like that's something
I don't feel like we get there yet.
you don't.
No, I feel like this is my take. I feel like we get to the point of like I'm gonna revisit this film to get my take on what it's trying to say about their world, not ours.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I don't feel like I get there yet on its commentary on our society.
I
per se.
felt, be it through the cinematography, be it through those little like I don't know how else to describe them, but like little monitos that the other
Miniatures?
chop, the miniatures that they were leaving around, and
Oh, you mean the origami?
Yeah, the
That's my
origami.
favorite thing about the whole film.
yeah,
I love
Or,
that. I thought
what
that was
about
great.
all the cinematography showing the eye and how important that was? You know?
Okay.
No,
I caught that, but yeah,
no.
yeah, same.
Not for me. It didn't do anything
To
for
me,
me.
it was this whole thing of,
the
like-
origami thing. It's like,
Well-
okay, I'm asking myself, why is one of them paper? Why is one of them foil? Why is it this shape? Why is it that shape? Why are we exploring this animal and then this unicorn that happens to be a dream of his, and that dream could be an implanted memory, or it could be his original dream. And those things are cool. I dig that.
But like the eye,
And that final line, by the
imagery-
way, delivered by Edward James Olmos' character, was cool too. It's a shame. What does it say? It's a shame that she's dying, or it's a shame that she's gonna die. But all of us do, or who doesn't? That's
Yeah.
cool. I dig that.
But like the eye imagery did nothing for you? Because to me I felt like that was very like it's all perception, right? It's all perception
Okay.
of like from the replicant's point of view, I feel my life and I feel it dwindling, and that's why they have so much conversation about like being scared and
Yeah.
how does that feel
You always brought it up.
compared to
Okay.
the perception of the humans
I
who
guess
are
it
born
didn't-
with these eyes.
Yeah.
And then they
Well,
go
they do talk about that with the guy who said the first one, right? The Chinese dude who's like,
Yeah.
I designed your eyes.
Yeah.
That type of thing.
exactly.
I mean, that's cool. I feel like what it was trying to do there, I guess because I was exposed to AI first, as in Spielberg's AI. I really like that film, dude. I just, he's said this. I think that film did it better. Emotionally. It tugs at my heartstrings more than this
because
one.
it's meant to be a more heartwarming movie.
Heart wrenching, dude. That fucking
whatever.
kid.
You know what I mean? Emotions. and
Yeah, but that's what he's asking. Like, did the eye thing kind of try to
No, and
take you
they
into one
had-
direction or another?
To me, they had multiple moments where if you're like, again, it's these little pieces that you can go back into the film, rewatch, and see when they insert it. Like,
Sure.
especially like when you would see at the very beginning of the film, you know, they show you how they're paying attention to the eye and seeing how it like dilates and it reacts when
Yeah.
they're doing that whole test on them.
Yeah.
Right?
I want to pose the
Oh
question.
wow, I get it.
I want to pose the question again.
Yeah.
That you posed. I think we need to spend a little more time on it.
Yeah.
Where do we draw the line? Because basically anybody who loves Blade Runner, the questions that they're really asking themselves are, again, is he a replicant or is he not? And does it matter? And the reason they're asking themselves that is that there was this whole craze with this film that basically people were so confused by it, and they thought, again, this was at the height of art house cinema, and this was at the height of experimental cinema. And they're basically like, oh yeah, there's so much meaning behind this. And then you have the director being like, nope, no meaning. This is just fucking entertainment. Take it or leave it. That's how it is. He didn't.
I would have said the same thing.
You would have said the same thing. He would have. And again, like, you have people like the Beatles who do that shit. Like, fans try to like reconstruct their albums, and it's like, no, dude, it's just fucking music. So like,
But there is this.
where do we draw the line? If the director, if the filmmaker wasn't intentional behind that, and he's being honest with you, like, yo. And by the way, Ridley Scott's gone on record to say that this is his favorite film of his.
Don't ever trust the director 100% when he says stuff.
Sir Ridley Scott.
Sir Ridley Scott, you're right. He is knighted.
Did he get knighted?
I don't know, a long time ago, I think. I'm wondering and this is the bad part about knowing about the making of the film to an extent, right? But I feel like people are forcing it. Like, they're forcing these questions, like, oh man, what about this? And it's commenting on this, and it's like, well, No, I just thought it was cool. Like, where do we draw the line? What's intentional? Can a film be bigger than what the filmmaker meant it to be?
Let's
Yes.
flip it on its head.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Let's flip it on its head a little bit more.
Yeah.
If there was a person,
You guys are right, by the way, and I want to really explore that.
if there was a person that went into one of your films, let's say just something that you did that you feel is like,
Yeah.
I did it, it's whatever, throw away.
Yeah.
But people are giving it that merit. Do you think that their energy invested into the film is less deserving?
Oh, not in the
you're
slightest.
not?
Dude, it's happening to me right now with the short film we're kind of showing people. The difference is I intended to do this and thought I failed halfway through, and then I'm realizing, like, no, people are connecting with it. But I intended to do that. So was it this time?
No, I'm talking about one that you're just kind of like, it's there.
Just kind of a throwaway
Yeah,
film?
like the tram.
I am not saying I wouldn't be grateful, but would I try to... Would I
no,
try...
the acting was acclaimed by everybody. Like,
Yeah.
it won festivals.
No. I'd be grateful, of course. But would I try to be
I'm
that
not asking if
asshole?
you're grateful. I'm saying, does it make the attention given less worthy?
No, not in the
Because-
slighest. Not in the slightest. It's
Then
not. It's
why
not an
is it-
attention factor for me. It's just what's on the screen.
Oh, I see what the law's trying to do.
I think that when film gets released, they're these artworks, right?
Yeah.
And I mean,
And they don't belong to the filmmaker anymore. at
Yeah,
that point.
exactly. They're just, they're never completed. They're just released.
Right. Well, more so once a film is released, or once any piece of art is released, be it music, anything.
Yeah.
It belongs to the audience, and
Yeah.
they're left to interpret it however they see fit.
No, I think when you're reviewing it as like a single piece of art and not looking at it for this, like you said, it's kind of weird because it is peeling back the curtain. It's almost like finding out
Yeah.
that the painter just spilled a can of paint and he just like put it on sale. Like he wasn't intending anything by it, and then people saying like, "Oh, it has so much like."
That's modern.
And by the way,
nowadays.
some of the greatest artists of all time were like that.
Yeah.
They were like, no, fuck off. I didn't mean for it to be anything. And then there are these great pieces of art.
See, and that's why I call bullshit.
Do you call bullshit on Ridley Scott?
Yeah, dude.
Why?
Because just for the simple fact that I don't trust anybody. So no, obviously he's just gonna try to sound like a mastermind by saying stuff like that.
You think so?
Who wouldn't want?
I think Ridley Scott's a little
Oh,
more
you know,
honest.
I didn't mean to do that, but if you guys, no, yeah, dude.
I think
he's
Ridley
gonna roll with that.
It's because that's the problem, right? That's the problem. What you said about thinking, peeling back the curtain. What I think is interesting about that is this fucking production was a nightmare, and that can change your opinion too. You know?
What do you mean?
So like
As
Ridley
the audience,
Scott as the filmmaker, right?
Oh, obviously.
You're gonna get off the set and you got to promote this thing and then. He
what do you
had a
mean?
bad time on this set, like a really bad time on the set. He had a bad time 20 years after this film was completed.
What happened?
Where do we start? Again, this was his first American production. Ridley Scott had only really done Alien, and he did that in the UK.
Okay.
The UK's at the time, the UK's way of making films was way different than Americans. To the point where Ridley Scott couldn't even bring any of his crew because of union sanctions that were in American filmmaking.
Really?
Ridley Scott comes from cam-opping his own films. He was a cam-op for 20 years before he ever became a director.
Oh wow.
I like
And
that.
when he jumped on this, they didn't let him cam-op a single frame of this film.
Because he had to
The
follow.
unions. He had to follow American
That's
unions.
why I love-hate relationship with unions. Yeah.
You know, so that was just the beginning. A lot of people know that Ridley Scott's a perfectionist. Okay, so he'll get into the double digits when it comes to takes. He'll get into the first 2 weeks of this production. The film was delayed for 2 weeks because they shot stuff in the apartment sequence. He hated the lighting, and after 2 weeks was like, we need to reshoot the whole fucking thing. We need to change the lighting. And they did, and it cost money, and it
everybody
cost
hated him
time,
now.
and the entire crew hated him after
Yeah,
that.
that's a tough.
Really?
Yeah,
That's a tough one.
After the first 2 weeks of shooting, okay,
clean
So yeah, imagine that, right? Crew already hates you. Harrison Ford fucking hated him, publicly hated Ridley Scott. They didn't get along on this set. They really hated each other.
We don't have to
It
get along.
wasn't until literally the late 2000s where Harrison Ford was like, yeah, we kind of finally made amends. Like, fuck it, I like the movie now. But
Jeez.
he hated it too. And again, I think the experience on set will sour your ability to say anything nice about it. And maybe that's
Yeah.
just where Ridley Scott sits. Like, whatever. I didn't mean anything by it. I'm done with this fucking film. Take it for whatever you
I
want.
can see that.
Yeah.
But so a lot of that happened. Again, the studio takes it away from him. He got fired for a week when they wrapped. The producers took over and said, "Fuck you. You were over budget. We're taking over the film."
That's Hollywood, baby.
And then one of the kind of junior producers was like, "Fuck you guys. Like, no, we need to bring him back. This was his vision."
Wait, come back.
And they brought him back with the exception that the producers still had creative control. So he came back to edit the picture. But it wasn't really his doing anymore.
Is that why
See,
you were
now
saying?
it makes more sense.
Well, is that what you were saying, like at the top of the episode, that like the director's cut and all that really just wasn't his?
So in '97,
yeah.
he was off shooting something. I think it was called like 1492 or something. And he was busy on prep for that film. It was a period piece. He's focusing on that. And they asked him to come back to do, director's cut. If I'm not mistaken, this film was like the first or one of the first quote unquote director's cuts ever. Like
Really?
that concept didn't exist. And essentially, like, he basically was like, I trust the producer and the editor that are going to take over this because they know my original vision. I'm going to fuck off, make this film. I'll come back and see if I like it. Mm-hmm. They didn't give these guys enough. The studio, I think it's Warner's, they didn't give them enough time to finish. Like, they were like, you have till this day. And they couldn't get there in time. So they just kind of released whatever they kind of got to. And it wasn't really Ridley's vision, and they didn't have enough time to do Ridley's vision. So the '97 director's cut means nothing. It's not a director's cut. 2007, Ridley Scott's obviously made some good shit where he's undeniable. I mean, he's off the heels of things like Gladiator, off the heels, like he's
Finding Nemo.
Not Finding Nemo, but
You sure?
Hannibal, all this shit. So finally, there's some power to be like, I'm finally gonna do what I want with this thing. And that's what we see.
That's why you got the...
But it took fucking 40 years to get there, man. Like, I don't know. I just think it's a weird kind of front where a film is going to end up in limbo. And I think the concept of Blade Runner, and I don't think I've ever said this in this podcast. Maybe I think the concept of Blade Runner and the shots and the world building, I think the concept of Blade Runner is better than the actual film.
Yeah, that's what.
And I think since
right?
Ridley didn't have a handle on it the way he wanted to from the get-go, we didn't end up where he wanted. And I personally, I see that in the film. I feel like it's like, oh no, we're going to have these key moments with him falling in love with a fucking replicant, essentially. And all. I would have wanted to explore that a little more. I wanted, not the love story, just the aspect that there's some humanity in the love story, that there's some humanity in this character. Or is there? I would have posed those questions. I would have tried to explore that. That's more interesting to me. And again, those are my sensibilities. All of the other stuff, like the world building stuff for like the Lao for Eric, some of the action stuff, the gore, fucking, getting the eyes of the creator and shit like that. Like, all that was cool. The creepy shit, cool. I'm not saying it wasn't cool. I just don't know what this film wants to be. And it frustrates me as a viewer because I don't know what it wants to be. So why should I make... I don't think I have the right to put my own spin on it. Let me just put it to you that way.
I think this film knows exactly what it wants to do.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Which is what?
It wants you just to sit down, dumb yourself out.
No,
God.
you see, that's my point. We usually hate movies like those, and I didn't hate this movie.
I just struck a nerve on it.
I don't know, man. To me, it was just a film noir. That's what it was.
A modern, kind of postmodern film noir.
Neon noir film set in
Come
the
on,
future.
talk to me, Delo.
I'm losing the hat.
Tell us
Talk to me,
your
man.
thoughts.
Man.
Listen
I
again.
had to dumb myself down.
Because if you dumb yourself down, you're not gonna understand.
You're not gonna understand shit. But I don't have the desire to want to do that. There's this great author. His name's David Foster Wallace. No, David Foster Wallace. I think that's his name. And he wrote a book called Infinite Jest, and it's known as one of the best fucking novels to come out in the last 20 years.
Yeah.
And he's like a very complex writer. I had to start this book 3 or 4 times over just to get to like, what the fuck are you saying? And it's so good, but it's about fucking tennis players. You know what I mean? Like, it's not that complicated. But he's such an intricate writer that you have to like almost like restart and really, really like key in on this book. And then I read one of his smaller books and I totally fucking got it. What I'm trying to say with that is that I don't have the desire to turn my brain off and just throw on Blade Runner. But I get so frustrated that I'm like, what are you trying to do? What are you trying to do? What are you trying to say? Are you trying to say this? And it's not fun for me. It's not fun for me to get to try to walk a director to like, were you trying to do this? Were you trying to do that? It's frustrating, man. Look,
Well,
a director wants to see another director
for me
be
to do that.
A director wants to see another director be assertive. So me as a storyteller, I want to see the storyteller I'm trusting to be assertive.
Oh,
I want them to
man.
know what decisions they want to fucking make. You know?
Yeah.
I feel like I've seen things like I've seen experimental cinema and I've seen Lynch do it.
Was it that?
No.
Tell me, because this wasn't that either.
but you're also saying you also don't like it for your sensibilities, and I'm
No,
saying
that's totally fair. Yeah.
So I'm saying for my sensibilities, like in experimental cinema, I'm used to more directors just kind of giving you something, and it really is just kind of like, if you get it, you get it, and whatever
and
you think
totally fair. But do you honestly, wholeheartedly feel like that was the intention here? Was like, there you go.
it's a whole other thing. I mean, we're that's why I said it's weird because if you want to just say like, oh, it loses merit because intentionally it didn't really have that. I mean, if we're going to say that.
I think Ridley
kind
was handed a bunch of puzzle pieces that even he didn't get to decide. Look, that's another factor with adapting a fucking book, man. It's not your story to begin with, you know?
Yeah,
and
but
that's
I mean,
kind of the part of like, Ridley had no part in writing the screenplay. Ridley had no part in adapting this, but he didn't even read the book. He didn't want to because the screenplay already had the essence of what the story was trying to say. I think Ridley signed on to do this, was like, this story is great, this concept's great, and then didn't care for it after a while. And I forget which film we talked about that this was a similar issue. Like, you kind of just signed on. It might have been The Shining. I think it was The Shining.
Yeah.
Where, like, fucking, Kubrick was done. He didn't give a fuck. And then,
it's this.
it didn't have anything to
Does it
say
lose
by the end of
merit
it.
because of that?
Did you just say The Shining had nothing to say?
Yes, I do.
Oh yeah, you didn't see our.
Dude,
he
Kubrick
hated
said
it.
it had nothing to say.
See, that's what I'm telling you.
Kubrick,
You can't take
Kubrick
100%
said,
what
It's
they
a
say.
damn good movie, man. I don't know, man.
It's boring.
You're boring.
Oh,
No,
God.
Kubrick. No, but
Christ.
we when you start like, dude, if you pay attention to Kubrick, if you pay attention to Kubrick in the making of The Shining, Kubrick was miserable, dude. He fucking hated The Shining. He fucking hated making that movie.
And that's what made it so great.
Oh, I don't know, man.
He didn't admit
Oh
afterwards.
my God!
He basically dismisses The Shining. Like, it was cool working with Jack. Moving on. What next question? Like that. He didn't give a shit, dude. Like he was bored out of his mind or miserable. The Shining took fucking a year to shoot, dude. What movie do you know other than
it's all
Apocalypse
show,
Now
dude. It's all
takes a
show.
year to shoot?
Great fucking movie.
No, go fuck a goat. I don't
10 out
understand
of
that.
10.
I think, in my opinion, I think the same thing that happened to Kubrick in The Shining happened to Ridley Scott in this one.
And they're both fantastic
Yes.
movies.
Really?
It doesn't make it a bad film. It just doesn't make it a great film.
No, that's a great film.
Nah, I like it just. Dude, I like anything that's in the future and
Look,
somebody's
I'm
perspective.
not trying to be that
And I know
asshole.
it's
And I'm
not
not
even
trying to
about
win a
that.
court case, but every answer out of each of you was like, it is what it is.
I would have
That's
said the
not
same
my
thing.
answer. It has so much substance and merit, I think,
In what?
in its symbolism.
Break it down for me.
Okay,
Oh my
symbolism
God.
is a big. Okay, yeah. Please elaborate on the symbolism.
No, I'm saying again,
Can
like
you define symbolism for us? I'm asking for a friend.
No.
I'm
Let him,
genuinely asking.
let him
Genuinely.
cook,
Tell
let him
me,
cook.
Tell me. Bring me into your world and tell me what this thing was trying to say.
yeah.
Take a big swig of water.
Because this is what people are tuning in. Because they know this is a big aesthetic.
again, my sensibilities. I mean,
Yeah.
I'll even say so far that I'm writing a script with Carlos that's like in development, but it deals with a similar topic that I
Absolutely.
think this one's
Absolutely.
dealing with, which is what does it mean to be alive and
Yeah.
human? And
I don't think this film did. I think fucking Harold and Maude did it better than this one.
No,
in terms of that.
I think everybody's trying to answer the question, but
Yeah.
again, this one used the backdrop of sci-fi neo-noir to ask that question, and that's like
What about
okay.
Ex Machina?
No, Ex Machina, I think it's a little bit more.
Yeah,
it's
I'll-
just
it's
this,
a caution, more of a cautionary.
yeah,
tale
it's
to
more
an
of a
extent.
cautionary tale because
Oh, okay, look, we're getting to the weeds. In your heart of hearts,
yeah.
what did this film say to you?
What did it say to me?
Yeah. What did it do for you?
Pull up the script.
And let's bar all the visual aspects.
Bar all the visuals.
Oh, most of them, because some of them are
Just get
are
naked.
story
Yeah, yeah.
motivated. Some of them.
Yeah.
Not all of them.
Just take
Yeah.
off your shoes, bro.
What did this do to you? What did this do for you?
I
And
think
if the answer is nothing, because to an extent, Eric is saying like, dude, it's just It's just great cinema. It's just good. Like
No,
it's,
I think at the end of the day, it poses a question:
It stimulates the brain. This is what
who gets to decide who lives and who dies, and
Okay.
who gets to decide like what who's living a more true life, you know? And
Okay.
I saw
Elaborate.
those elements expanded upon in multiple aspects, all the way up till the very end, you know?
I guess I don't know if this is this the archetype. I don't know. I feel like where I was interested in the film story wise, even minorly character wise, was when they're bringing up their start dates or their inception dates or whatever the fuck it was called.
Yeah.
And they basically, this isn't really keyed on in the film, but every replicant has 4 years to live when they leave their planet.
It was
essentially,
keyed on in the film.
It was.
I mean, their inception date was
No,
but
but
not
it was
the
it was
fact that
brought
they,
up.
I
It
didn't
was brought
catch
up
it.
that the way that they were built, because it was when they were talking. Yeah. When they were talking about the memories, that they were brought up that they each have 4 years to live. And
It's through. It might as well have been through voiceover, right? It's through exposition.
yeah.
I didn't see a sense of urgency in any of the replicants other than the chick, and Harrison Ford, depending on your definition.
And Roy?
What do you mean?
No, the villain was the whole point. He killed Tyrell.
And then
Because he
he was.
wanted-
they
he
also
wanted to
said
live
that he was the
longer.
And
ringleader.
by killing Tyrell,
There's no reason. Tyrell told me
Every
it
time
can't
you
be done.
every time you cut to them,
So then,
So yeah, angrily he kills his maker.
no,
that's
but
it.
every time you cut to them, they're always trying to get one step ahead in trying to fix the problem, you know. And all that
so
culminates.
why did we have to paint them as villains? Because that's all we were
That's what
perceiving
it-
them
that's
as.
what it's trying
Because
to
that's
do.
what
They're-
society's done, you know.
Yeah,
Society's
they painted them as villains, and at the end,
Society
Decker
made-
realizes like, am I in the wrong here? Like
That's
do I
why
have-
Deckard never like retired, and he was like, "I'm not a Blade Runner anymore."
Yeah, well,
like,
the question that they posed to him in the beginning was like, "Have you ever accidentally confused a replicant for a human?" Right? And he
he's
said,
like,
"No."
never. Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't feel like those moments really stuck with me. It wasn't until like I was kind of similar to Castro. It wasn't until the end when he saves Deckard that it was like,
I wish they would
What
explore
about the
Roy's
moment when
background a little bit
he
more.
finds one of them? It's a girl from like the strip place, and
Oh yeah, she's just working
she
at a strip
runs?
club now.
yeah, no, and then like
left her.
they have that whole exchange. Then he's like hunting her down, but then afterwards, everything on Harrison Ford's face and
Yeah,
like
yeah. You can see
like,
that he's-
that the
he's
cops kind
questioning.
of come and they're like, oh, okay, we'll move along. Like it's fine, it's done. Like you
Yeah.
did your job, and they're like, oh, this guy's the best, and you see him kind of living with that. And I mean, in a way, I'm gonna be reaching a
think they-
little bit. I don't think it's far, but the audience also has to live with that, thinking like, did she really do anything wrong other than just exist where she wasn't supposed to?
See, but I don't think like they focused that much on that scene on that. It just kind
not
of
just that scene, but that sentiment.
yeah, like even like you're trying to see, okay, he's contemplating if he did, and then it just moves on, and you're like,
Harrison's Deckard was like that before any of this happened. He drank a bottle of whiskey. He came in reluctantly.
that's the most I got when like he
but
drinks himself to sleep. I was
Yeah,
like,
that's
okay,
that's
there's-
all we kind of get. That sentiment of
Yeah,
like,
I'm with you on
fuck,
that.
like don't get me wrong, it's sprinkled like you say, like, well, that's why he retired, and for as long as this film was, we could have spent a lot more time on those on those.
I wish they would have explored Roy's background a little bit more. I think we just got. I feel like the
agree.
Joker with Jared Leto. I feel like we could have gotten a lot, but they just cut out a lot of his parts.
Yeah,
Oh, man, that guy had a badass arc.
and that's why I feel like it didn't know what it wanted to be, because if it wanted to get rid of all the fluff so that people don't get bored, you also bored the audience with not having that implemented. And you were trying to lean into the action side, but there's not really a ton of action in this
I
film.
also
So
felt that they
where
were
are we
trying.
at,
They were
you know?
trying to balance it out because
Okay.
you do get a lot of exposition at the top of the film. You know that
Yeah.
little like layer of fat, and then
Yeah.
afterwards, it doesn't do a whole lot extra to give you anything else. Like once we realize that the next person that they're looking for, the replicants, is that JF guy. That kind of kicks off the rest of the tone of the world's gonna just kind of happen. Everything's just gonna kind of go into place, and then that's the breathing room. That's the
Yeah.
room where then you're not focused on like the story and the beats. You're just supposed to be focused on the characters and how they're reacting to situations. You know.
Okay. I can
then,
see that. I can
also-
see that. I guess we just didn't.
And in a lot of the replicants' dialogue too, every place they go to, there just seems to. I feel like tonally there seems to be that urgency of like, oh, you're, just like, you're just playing this little science experiment. But when they say, oh, but it's cold, right? Like, it doesn't feel good, like, thinking that death is around the corner. And, like, even when Deckard's fighting that one replicant after killing the stripper one, like, he's just like, like, it doesn't feel good to have that feeling of fear. And this idea that, death is just around the corner.
That was a good line. Yeah,
I feel like...
But why... Okay, I guess what I'm asking, or maybe I'm missing something, guys. Why didn't those moments stick with me? Why didn't those lines were cool and they were close to doing something, but the whole living in fear kind of aspect, that part of Blade Runner doesn't stick with me by the time I'm done with it.
Maybe it's just not your thing, like Alien.
No, I agree with them. There wasn't a sense of urgency. You don't leave it like.
I don't feel a sense of urgency. Look, I don't feel a sense of protectiveness. I don't feel a sense of care.
Maybe from Roy a little bit, but
maybe
with the whole and I gotta get a little adrenaline just to
trying to feel
just
something.
a little bit more, just to
I don't know, man. Look, this is the bad thing too. It's packaged in this '80s action archetype that that I really dislike about films to begin with.
Whoa, what, really? You don't like that old dystopia type?
No, I don't. I really don't because
fascinated
most
how
of the
they
bad
did
films of the
it.
'80s, most of the bad action films of the '80s are those. Think about like the Jean-Claude Van Damme films, man, or think about like the. I mean, they're packaged in this similar kind of packaging, of. I think it's the same thing as that I feel about like early 2000 cinema, because the more I explore things like Before Sunset, right? I hate how it looks because it looks like a fucking 2000s rom-com. But it's a good film.
A little Lifetime.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And this, I think, is packaged in that kind of aesthetic too.
No, I love the aesthetics, dog.
Yeah.
That's the best part of the movie.
But you guys love that era. That's my point.
You're telling me Terminator
Well, I'm not
is
from
bad?
there. I don't like that type of era, but I love that aesthetic.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that's the whole thing, dude. That's the whole thing why I want to watch it. Then I started looking at the plot, and I was like, okay, no, I'll just keep watching.
But no, by the way, no, you're right. That's the best thing it has going for it.
Yeah.
I'm
sorry.
I think that's the best thing it has going.
Yeah, me too.
Is this,
I wish they would have explored a couple more of the characters. Roy, the antagonist, was my favorite.
Do
It was just kind of like, what happened? And then Harrison's character was like, I get, he's your typical detective with something shady in his past, but nothing came out.
Look, dude, you hit it right on the nose that it was trying to do something in the vein of Chinatown. But China Downtown did this so much better, man. And it, by the way, it didn't have to do much in terms of exploring that background to an extent. But Chinatown did, so it keeps you in this, like, this Jack Nicholson character, like, why am I so invigorated by him? Why am I so, like...
But that's not fair, though.
Why?
Comparing it to Chinatown?
Well, it is very, very similar. It might even be inspired by Chinatown. I mean, just this kind of...
Do you feel like...
modern noir,
I can see what you're saying. But
hard-boiled detective story.
Yeah.
You know.
I get you.
But again,
I do think that Chinatown leans a little bit more on the plot elements than it does a character, You
know what? But everything that we love about a noir film, I think Blade Runner tried to do to the best they could. I was talking to somebody recently, you know who this is, about a script they're writing that's kind of in the vein of something like this, in the sense of a noir meets a modern dystopian thing. And we're talking to this, and this guy's basically saying, like, I'm trying to decide on which route to go for the noir. And he basically boiled it down to two, which was the woman in distress or the femme fatale. And in noirs, that's really what you're leaning heavy into. And in this one, it's like, woman in distress, but she's not really important to the story all that much. She is important. I don't know.
I don't think...
Because she wasn't a femme fatale. I mean, she wasn't trying to fuck this character over.
Maybe
they kind of build a future together. At least that's what we're led to believe, right?
I think maybe what it is that, again, when we were talking about, like, it doesn't have holes. It has missing puzzle pieces, right? I think when you...
What's the difference?
I could go with that. No, yeah.
What's the difference?
Hole is closer to like a mistake or a fluke, where it's that they just didn't patch it up right, and there's no real answer for why that's missing. It's just kind of there. Where a puzzle piece is that there is something missing, but when you find out what fits, it's so satisfying.
Is that puzzle piece left up to you?
Yeah. And then I feel like the
Look, usually I'm okay with that, and that's why it's so frustrating for me because usually I'm okay with like you interpret it your way.
That made a lot of sense. I get what he's saying.
I don't think that's what.
Maybe
this
a
was
little
trying
bit
to
more
do.
holes than puzzles.
I don't feel like this has.
I agree. I think
It doesn't have plot holes. It doesn't have character holes. I feel like it
you're
describes
right,
the world really well.
It has character holes. It doesn't have plot holes, but it does have character holes. I agree. I just don't wholeheartedly agree with the fact that you get to determine your own. I don't think this film takes it that far.
Okay.
I don't think it was trying to, and that's the problem.
I've never seen Delo give in, bro.
No.
Come on, Delo. No, but Delo's usually like, and he's like really like
Look,
beat up
listen to
right
me.
now. He's like,
Look, this is just me, and I've seen this from Eric too, and I've seen this from
usually hold your ground, bro.
I've seen this from each of you. So I'm just gonna point this right out, and the audience can chime in too and tell me if I'm wrong based on the almost 100 episodes that we've done on this podcast.
I've never seen this before.
When you love a film, you fucking fight for it.
True, Delo.
You fucking fight for it.
I've
I
seen-
haven't
I've
made
s-
my mind up about this film. I just don't know where to put the fucking pulse on it.
And I've seen you bring your A game.
And
to
you're kind
certain-
of just like, well, it may or may not be this, and it kind of
think
may be
what
this.
I was
and,
trying
you
to
know.
get to right now
Yeah.
is saying that those missing puzzle pieces.
Uh-huh.
I feel like when you're asking things like, why does it matter? When
Yeah.
you're getting to these little segments where it's like, okay, dude, he had this like little device, or okay, like they got away, or like the villain just kind of allowed himself to die, and the questions of why does that matter? And when you start answering those questions, even on yourself, I think it gets very introspective and very philosophical very quick. And those are the elements that I really enjoyed and the things that
Okay.
I sit with and
Okay.
it sticks with me, Because in those elements, like if we're looking at the ending, right? Like he saved him. Wait a minute. Isn't this...
I think you're being
Wait,
very,
hold on. Wait. What about the ending? Because I think
You're going to say that I'm very generous?
not generous, but you're being very maybe generous is the word. I think the philosophical aspects that you're drawing from the film, I don't even think they were trying to do that. I think you were like, oh, I mean, and that's I don't know.
I saw him there because
Yeah,
because this whole like thing of him posing like imagine being afraid and feeling death and all that, and trying to make Deckard realize, because Deckard is the embodiment at that time of like the system and society saying that you are deemed like bad, and we need to eliminate your kind from society.
That's
and him saying like, oh, that fear that you're feeling, that sense that your life's dwindling away, that's what I'm experiencing. And does that make me less real?
Okay, I mean that'd be cool if I saw it.
But
I don't
That's
see
the
that.
symbolism of it, though.
But where? I think it's a stretch.
No.
I think it's a little bit of a
That's
stretch.
why I love that scene.
That scene,
I'm sorry. To
that
say
one scene.
Yeah.
That's why I think it's a
They brought it all
stretch.
together. Yeah, brought it all together, and it was good.
It's like a good rug,
wasn't just
man. It
brought
just
it up
brings the
together.
room together.
No, yeah. I know, but
Yeah.
Maybe just the way this film was packaged didn't do it for me.
Do you feel like the
That's fair.
second one filled in
I
those
hope so.
holes?
I really hope so.
Okay.
I really hope
Yeah,
I'm wrong.
no,
Next
kinda-
episode,
Yeah, no,
That's,
yeah.
Blade
that's a
Runner
question
2.
I had for I
that's
wanted to
actually
have for
pretty
you
good.
guys.
Yeah, we should.
And then maybe we can't answer this until we all see the second one. But did this film need an immediate sequel?
No.
No.
You needed to
Dude,
sit with
I'm a
it.
sucker for
It
these.
was,
Yeah.
it was the
I
most
would've
I
loved
might have
unexpected
needed an
sequel
immediate
ever,
sequel.
Yeah,
and the
me
best
too.
thing ever.
Yeah.
So,
What?
the most unexpected sequel ever.
Which one?
This
2049.
one. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Blade Runner 2049. It was
30
the most,
years after.
It was the most unexpected sequel and the greatest thing ever to happen.
Really?
Like I said, I just feel like
Is it
that,
because
that question.
or it's just a good plot? My bad.
No, the whole thing of like, why does one person's life matter over another, and like, what is that thing?
love
like,
that. I love
yeah,
that.
like, oh, this is like their real life compared to a non-real life, and her asking the questions like, have you tested yourself, or like when they have exchanges about like loving each other, memories, and all that kind of stuff. Does that make them more real, less real? Like just because you love
That could be
somebody,
cool.
like
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
see where he's going. I
could be
love
cool.
that. I love those.
guess
I love those questions.
I saw those little
I guess
pieces
again, man, sensibilities are another thing
Yeah.
here because those are the same types of things that are asked in like Her, and I love
we
Her.
narrowed it down.
I think it's just how it's packaged. I think that's just where my head's at. I think it's just how it's packaged because again, those are the same questions that are posed in films like Her,
Maybe it's just you, bro.
and Her's fucking great.
Yeah. But do you think that that's also a sensibility thing because that
Yeah,
deals
that's
with
what
more
I just
of
said.
like
I think so.
yeah.
I think so. I think it's fair. I think it's a fair point.
Because I think where they weren't leaning into the love factor, right? They weren't leaning into like Decker and
Yeah.
I forgot what the name of the what's her name? Do you remember her name?
The love interest? Or
Yeah,
Rachel?
Rachel.
Yeah, Rachel.
Like Decker and
Rachel
Rachel,
Green.
like they didn't lean into this the love element as much, and I feel like
Didn't we like point out that it's one of the rapiest love scenes in the
oh,
history
that is kind of like
Tell me you want me.
Oh man, I'm
In
not even sure if I can say that
2024
on the internet anymore.
Yeah,
But
2024, that
Yeah,
would
let's
not
not say
sit
that.
well.
grape,
Can
grape
we-
is that what they say?
No,
The grape,
No, let's skip it. It's one of the most
Being an accountant.
uncomfortable.
It's the good old Clockwork Orange Street, man.
Right.
God.
Look. Okay. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Even that scene, you have to look at the dialogue. I know it's rough, but
No, please do
Yeah.
not elaborate. What?
no,
the
Say it to
love
me?
scene?
Say
yes,
it to me.
no. The
Whoa.
thing is, part of the issue of the replicants.
Tell me you love me. Tell me you want
Now
me.
I-
Yeah, no, it's
I can only
him
wonder what
trying
the
to
laws in bed.
reach, saying, "I know that you're a replicant." And again, this idea is that if you're a replicant, you need to be deactivated if you're not fulfilling your purpose, and then also you have a failsafe of only a few years
Listen,
to live and all this kind of stuff.
I just
Wait.
thought, yeah.
And like in that moment, him asking her like, "Say you want me," or "Say you want me to kiss you," it's trying to give this torch of like, I need you to prove to me that,
That
you're
there's free
autonomous.
will.
Yeah, and that you can
Same
exist.
thing with a drunk girl. Say you want it, so I can know you're sober.
Okay.
That's how I was taking. Like,
That's
dude.
okay.
really problematic.
Just
I,
say
I have
it,
a, I have a basic, and again, sensibilities. I watched the film last night that I do hope we cover on this podcast. Terrific picture. It's called Decision to Leave, and it's relatively new. It's on Mubi. It's a Korean film. Has
Yeah.
some Chinese in there. And the film's about a detective. It's very much set in this kind of noir world. It's directed by Wong Kar-wai, by the way, who fucking Wong Kar-wai, Park Chan-wook, who directed Old Boy.
You racist.
Most I know. I'm sorry.
Oh my
No, I just
God.
it had sensibilities of Wong Kar-wai.
Sure.
Park Chan-wook
Sure,
most
they
famously
all look
directed
alike,
Old
huh?
Boy and The Handmaiden and shit like that. So he's very, again, these hard-boiled, tough to kind of chew on films.
Yeah.
And this film is about a detective who's essentially investigating a murder. And one of the main point of interest is his wife, is the victim's wife. And while he's investigating, he falls in love with the wife.
Of course.
And he's married, and he has a life and shit. And it basically becomes that moral territory of, I know she's fucking guilty, but I'm in love with her. You know?
So basically, Anatomy of a Fall.
Anatomy of a Fall
That's
doesn't do
what
it
I'm
right.
seeing right here.
But I think this film was a lot more successful in doing
Oh
that.
my God!
What?
Don't bash Anatomy of a Fall. It was beautiful and
It was
brilliant in every
but
way.
this came first of all. Second of all, I think this did it more effectively. What?
Oh,
Why?
God.
The fucking lawyer did nothing in Anatomy of a
He
Fall.
was so good.
He was a good actor, but he didn't do dick.
good. Oh my!
He didn't do
God.
anything.
Carlos, you're slipping, bro.
Dude, that character did not
You-
do anything for that film.
Just take a breath. Bro.
What do you mean he didn't do
That
anything?
character did not do anything for Anatomy of a
What?
Fall. The lawyer character?
Yes.
Oh gosh, give me a break. No.
Oh, there's this whole weird balance with like connection, and I mean, like, if he falls more in love with her, that just makes her more guilty. But if he
Preach.
just,
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think that character was pointless, man.
oh my God!
Where you been hanging out, bro?
You guys need to watch Decision to Leave. Please, just fine. Don't say anything else until you watch Decision to Leave.
Did you take your medicine?
I think Anatomy of a Fall was a great picture for this year. I don't.
Doesn't sound like
I
you.
don't
have
think. I
one
don't
question
think.
for you,
It also
Carlos.
wasn't
Dude, I have a
necessarily trying to
few
ask us
questions for
moral
you, bro.
questions.
I have one question for you.
And I have a follow-up question after that.
Your only question.
What's my only question?
From the
How
low.
much? And you can. I already know it went up, but
Uh-huh.
how
Just
much
ask
did
it.
your rating go up after this conversation?
Oh, dude.
No, it went up. Obviously.
No, I didn't.
Go up, Carlos.
Carlos.
No, it didn't.
Dude,
Look
it went-
at his eyes.
Dude, I think it went down for
Understand
him.
the question
No,
he's
it's not a
asking.
7. It's fine. I mean, I don't. I think the merit that comes from Blade Runner is
Carlos, I don't think you're understanding.
the fandom of the fandom and the world building. I don't think it had anything else for me.
Dude, he's gonna go in the woods and dig a hole, bro.
Listen, I bring up Decision to Leave because it's posing a lot of the same moral questions. Okay, and I think it does it in a more grounded facet. Again, better to my sensibilities.
Oh yeah, we're starting to get a hang of what that is.
But I just think that these moral questions on what is the right thing, can I move forward with this decision if you are in love with me, or if you have some autonomy to say that you're in love with me? I didn't feel for those characters to fall in love. I thought it was a good kind of bridge, but did I necessarily want to root for them? No, I'm more asking myself, like, if I root for them, am I the fucking weirdo? If I don't root for them, is it wrong?
Either way, you're the weirdo, though.
I just the love aspect of Blade Runner didn't do anything for me.
Yeah,
No, but that's what I was kind of getting to. That they didn't play into that emotion, and maybe it would have made it more dynamic on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
But it was
For
an
your
awkward,
sensibilities.
awkward sex. I mean,
For my
I've seen a lot of
sensibilities.
awkward
But they were trying
listen
to
to me.
have the
I've been in an awkward
homogenizing.
sex
They were
scene.
trying to have the homogenizing factor.
So I
I
know
was
about
I was
awkward
on
sex
your
scene.
boat until you gave me a fucking light bulb there, Lalo. For my sensibility, sure, but that's how you ended the film. You ended the film with this "let's run away together" faction.
No,
That's what the ending
no.
What?
is. That's what the fucking. That's the ending
No.
line of the
No.
picture.
No,
No,
that was
her
just
life was in danger.
And he's in love with her.
no. It's just fear, and
Oh,
that's
dear
that's what they
God.
were just playing into.
So then, why do we have the Edward James Olmos line?
Because it's trying to push things forward with fear. You know.
That's not what his line said.
Nah, the law.
Gaff's the character Gaff, right?
Yeah.
Gaff's line was, "It's a shame that she's not gonna live," or whatever.
That's the last part.
No, that's the first part.
No,
The last part is, "But everybody dies," or "But who does?"
No, she. It's so sad that she's gonna die or something like that. Can you?
No, that's the first line. The second line is like, "But who does?"
Really?
Yeah, something in that vein. I know I'm getting it wrong. I know I'm paraphrasing, but that's a take on like, dude, fucking go for it. This is the emotion you're feeling towards
that's how
this.
you took it?
That's how I took
I
it.
have to see the line.
Can you bring up the line?
Yeah, my bad. Awesome, man.
That's how I'm taking it. It's hey, you're gonna fucking you're gaining some perspective on being saved by the dude you're trying to kill, and the woman, quote unquote woman you love, is also one of these fucking beings. Fuck it, just go for it, man. The life's gonna happen anyways. That's how I took
I
it.
didn't take it like that.
What's the line? That's how I took it. That's how I took that line.
I took the line like she's eventually gonna die, some shit like that.
So if that's such an important piece of the puzzle when it comes to this film, why the fuck aren't we focusing on that factor? That's how we're gonna end the movie.
Hey man, don't kick a guy in the ground.
No, dude, I'm the one that's wrong in this circle. I want to know why.
Well, you're the one still.
That's how this film is being built. So what's
No,
the
yeah,
name of
yeah.
it? What's the line? Oh, you might have to go further down. I'm just wondering. That's how the structure of this film is being built. We're gonna have this quote unquote romantic scene where we do see that they have a thing for each other, and he's trying to protect her, and she's this woman in distress. And then we're gonna get to this massive fight sequence, and then by the end of it, he just wants to go back to her and hope she's still alive. Oh, she is. And the ending line is, "Hey, dude, she might die, but fuck it, go for it. We all die." That's basically the sentiment. So where was that in the entire picture?
Here it comes.
I don't think we can hear it, by the way.
No, but I think the lines though.
I don't know if it's muted or not.
It's too bad she won't live. But then again, who does? Oh, okay, you were right.
That's the line. It's too bad she won't live, but then again, who does? Posing your question of who's living, who's the ones that are living, the humans or the replicants? Who's really living? I don't know, man. I just think it could have been fucking, it could have been a harder punch if we were going to focus on that aspect of the story. We didn't. You only really get to that when your favorite character delivers this Shakespearean monologue in order to do so. I think this story has so many problems, and everybody's afraid to fucking point it out, except one man. And I'm going to read something to you, okay?
Before you do, give him a hug.
Yeah, bro. God damn,
Okay,
bro.
come here.
I mean, I've seen domestic abuse.
I
but
felt
God.
like shit because of this feeling. And then I read this and I was like, okay, maybe I'm not the only one that doesn't feel this way,
Dude,
okay?
he's been crying for the last 30 minutes. Bro.
The late, great Roger Ebert, a man who I love and respect and the cinematic taste.
Yikes.
Fuck's the matter with you?
Yeah. He's
Roger Ebert
respect.
gave this movie a mixed to positive review in his initial release, awarding it 3 out of 4 stars. He described it as a stunningly interesting visual achievement, but criticized director Ridley Scott for being more concerned with creating film worlds than populating them with interesting characters. When reviewing the director's cut 10 years later, he called its world one of the visual touchstones of modern movies, but maintained that the human story did not measure up to the special effects, and that the love affair between Ford and Young, not you, Young, though properly bittersweet, seems to exist more for the plot than for them. However, another fucking shot when there's another re-release, another 15 years later, he felt he was ready to embrace the final cut. He praised the fact that its restored image and sound quality allowed the story to inhabit the movie's world much better, awarded it 4 stars, and included it on his great movies list. But he didn't change his position. He didn't change his position on whether there were any characters in this thing or there wasn't. He fucking praised it for its visual mastery, which I applaud it for. It has massive visual mastery to it.
But you think it's a bad story?
I don't think it's a bad story. I think it's a very incomplete story.
It's lacking.
Which makes it bad.
No, not necessarily.
No.
Just very incomplete. Very frustratingly incomplete.
That's what I've been saying that.
Now give him a hug.
Yeah, bro.
Everybody.
Jesus.
Gross.
I've seen some crazy YouTube videos, but this
It's
is
all okay.
it's getting out of hand.
I also didn't peg this to be one of your favorite films ever. I don't know why you're so butthurt.
Damn it, he's still.
I want to know.
He's still yelling.
I just want to
Man
say
And Danny, I'm sorry.
thanks for participating
know,
on
man.
our viewer request
I'll give you a hug
episode.
right now, man.
It was
Hey, look, man.
It was a lot
we
of
don't
fun.
soft soap shit, okay?
It was a
We're
lot
gonna
of
talk
fun.
about a film, and by the way, I'm the outlier here. Everybody
a lot
loved
of-
it. It was just me.
It was a lot of fun.
And Austin.
Oh, easy with the love. Yeah, I don't.
Fuck
But-
you guys. Nobody gave this a 9. Nobody gave this a 10. You agree. You just are too afraid to say it.
So what?
You see, now it's 3.
And if you have any more viewer requests,
We're doing a viewer request next week.
yeah.
By the way, last
that-
thing I'll say about this film, which I hope tells you guys that I'm trying to remain impartial about this shit. This book's been around since I don't know when, since the 60s. In 1969, Jay Cox and Scorsese were adapting it for Scorsese to direct it. And then he
now it
fucking
makes
dropped.
sense.
Dude, we almost made a whole episode.
I know, bro.
We were so
No,
I knew something was wrong.
that's why I waited
I
to the
knew,
end.
that's
knew
why
that.
he's like.
That's
so
not
pissy
why.
about
That's
it.
not so why. But he walked away from it because he couldn't put his fucking handle on it.
Well, look who had the balls to do it.
And look how that came out.
Came out great. What are you talking about?
There's no
It
story
even had
here,
a
man.
sequel that no one expected.
That's a
how
director.
good it was.
That's somebody that just takes initiative.
Yeah, don't get me started on on sequels that were unwarranted.
Oh, Terminator
This guy only
2?
takes the
Really?
audience.
Terminator 2 came out immediately after Terminator 1.
No.
How long did it take?
10 years.
Bullshit. 10
Whoa,
years?
no.
Bullshit.
A little
come on,
less than
man.
that.
No, it was like 2 or
First
3.
Terminator was 84. Second was at 92.
No, it was like 86 or 87.
No.
For real?
84 was the first one.
Terminator 2 was 92.
91.
Oh,
7 years.
wow.
Almost
Still,
10 years.
that took 30 years. Blade Runner 2049 took 30 years.
Can you imagine that?
Dude, Ridley
The
Scott didn't even want to
seasoning.
come back to direct it. That has to tell you something.
It was like a barbecue, you know? You slow cook that.
All
Because
right,
Ridley
all
Scott
right.
didn't even come back to direct it.
So-
he was busy
Any-
making Prometheus.
No, go fucking go.
And,
No.
Yeah, I fuck with Prometheus. Any last words of
Prometheus, he
love
lived in that world.
for Danny or Danny?
Next on our viewers' picks, we're either doing Last Christmas
So now
or Women
we're gonna
Talking.
love this gap between sequels.
Finding Nemo?
And Finding Dory 13.
I never saw Dory though. Oh yeah, that's the best one.
Look, I haven't seen 2049.
That's the worst.
It's a very plausibly
That's
a
the
very
worst.
good
Nah,
sequel.
you don't deserve to watch it.
That's the worst. Oh, that's even worse.
That's I think that's the list.
my
It's
God,
like,
that
you're
was
gonna,
pretty
you're
good. That
gonna
was pretty
bump
good.
into the viewer who requested this.
kick me in the
and
nuts.
it's like,
I'm
no,
sure.
no. You're.
I'm gonna go to Starbucks. You grab a coffee. You're just gonna throw it in my fucking
Yeah.
face.
Oh,
Hot
Cardinals,
coffee
huh?
at that.
So yeah, if you want to recommend Women Talking,
God, this is just me. Who the fuck cares? If you guys love this film, you love this
De
film.
La O cares. Look at him.
Look, man.
He's dead.
There's a
Dude,
difference, right?
his
I'm not
soul
quite
is
saying
just
that this is like
soulless
Toxic
now.
Avenger, where we know where its merit
What do you
lies.
mean? Toxic Avengers like peak cinema.
Aw. We know where its merit lies.
The
I'm
horse
not.
is dead. You're kicking it. You're like stabbing it more.
Why is it dead? It doesn't have to be dead. I'm just one guy. How the fuck am I? It's just whatever, you
The
know?
soul's not even there. Just the shoes of the soul's there.
Next
It's just
week.
the dog food that it's getting ready to
Just
get
the
made
ghost of
into.
the soul.
Next
It's going to the
week.
glue factory.
Next week.
Buddy,
We're doing
Buddy.
3
why
billboards.
are you skipping around? Any rating changes?
Don't do this to the man, bro.
No,
Don't do this to
Austin.
me.
Get
You guys are
outta
very
here.
fucking confusing. You either like the picture or you didn't, and if you didn't,
I loved it.
okay. So then, what was any rating changes?
Don't do that to him.
Mine changed.
Nobody's changed, bro. Come on.
From a 6.5 to 6.6.
8.75.
From
you're
a what?
You're just being nice.
8.7.
8.7 to an 8.75. Good. You?
I'll stick the same. 8.3.
8.3.
9.
It went up.
You guys
Just
just
kidding.
to fuck with me.
No, I'm joking. It stays the same. I don't change my ratings. My ratings are final.
He's confused. He's confused right now.
Final. Okay.
Final
Cool.
answer.
Look, go watch it if you haven't. It is a bucket list film. I
Go
think
watch
it
it
has
if you have
merit. It has merit.
Don't go out of your way if you don't have it.
It's another thing. You gotta fucking find the good one anywhere, other than Voodoo. You know,
It's on sale, so come
it
on.
is on sale. Good point. No, go watch it.
first
Listen,
films
Ridley
I bought
Scott.
on Voodoo.
Ridley Scott's a very interesting
You have
voice.
to watch this one at
I
least
think
once.
when Ridley Scott is given free reign, he does his thing. Okay.
Like, for which one?
Like for me,
Aliens?
like the ones I mentioned, my favorites, like The Last Duel, like The Martian, stuff like that.
The Martian was pretty good.
You guys probably love Gladiator. Somebody in here has to love Gladiator.
Yeah, Gladiator's
You
great.
don't like Gladiator?
I like Gladiator just fine.
But you just said who in here
Just
like...
fine.
It's not my favorite of his. No,
Oh, no, that's a whole... Oh, come on, bro.
that's a whole what?
That's a whole different genre, dude. That's a whole... That's...
You're gonna make me judge a film based on what genre it sits in? No, you're talking to the wrong kid, pal.
It redefine that genre.
What genre?
Fucking badass genre, bro.
Listen, Ridley Scott is a fucking master at his craft. He absolutely is.
There he is.
Is he my
Finally came around.
My sensibilities? Absolutely not. But when
God
he does a good
damn it.
story that's undeniable, it's undeniable.
Yeah, Alien.
This is undeniable. Say it.
Say it. Say it, Carmen.
Say it.
Say it,
It's
Carmen.
undeniably there.
It's
It's undeniably on the list. It is good. Is it great? No. I'm
say-
sorry. It's not. It's
say
not.
you like me, lobster.
All the cool kids are saying
Say it.
Say you love it.
Say you like me, lobster.
Yorgos, on the other hand, look, I liked Alien more than I liked this.
Oh, yeah.
And
That's
I
fair.
think it's
That's
because
fair.
fucking Ridley had something to say. He had his own thing. He had
do
his
you
own
mean?
handle on it. He didn't have any restraints from American cinema or fucking a crew that hated him. He just did a good picture. And I think that when he does that, he succeeds. I don't think he had that in Blade Runner, and it's not his fault.
Austin. Yarn.io. Say you like me, lobster.
Say you like me, lobster.
Say it. Say you like me, lobster.
So you like me, lobster?
Quick.
Um,
I just.
He needs a little. He needs a little.
This was one of the first ones I bought on my Voodoo. I love this film.
have you seen the sequel?
I haven't.
Okay.
You
But I
haven't
haven't-
seen the sequel?
I own it in 4K.
Why?
Which one is
Oh,
it?
huh? Oh no, you would
Oh, it's
know.
not there. So you
Uh,
like me, lobster?
Wait, what are you talking about?
Well,
No.
It's from the lobster.
audience.
Yorgos
No.
Since
Lanthimos
you guys don't know
thing.
what we're looking at, you guys Google it
Oh, it's right there.
yourself.
Oh wait.
2015.
Wait, no.
We're
Uh,
trying
Go
to look
down?
for
It's Defoe saying it.
Oh.
Yeah.
all right.
Oh my god.
Anyways, next film. Why haven't you seen the sequel?
Huh?
You haven't seen the sequel
I
to
bought
Tulip?
it in 4K and didn't realize that.
And then he saw the original and was like, yeah.
When
was about to
when
say
did
that
you
joke.
first see Blade Runner?
When did I?
The
see
original. This one.
it? I saw it in film school.
Okay.
Film school.
And it did something to you so much that the sequel was out and you didn't see it
No, like I said, I bought the 4K.
5 fucking years ago.
Yeah.
And you had no desire to rush over to see it and dive into that world again.
Yeah,
I'm
why?
not ready.
What does that mean?
Hey, that was actually a good answer.
What does that mean?
I bought some films that I haven't watched.
Me too.
I like. Okay, I'll say
But-
this.
But based on something that I know I love,
I see where he's coming from. That's true. Why haven't you watched it?
I'm just saying. I wanted.
you
to,
don't see Eric sitting around waiting for the new fucking Friday the 13th. He's like, I'm not ready. I'm gonna wait and see what's
just-
going on around here.
You just haven't had. I haven't had the time.
Every alien film, no matter how far removed it is from the first one, this
Respect.
motherfucker's the first in line.
You also know that was.
Respect.
Every Wes Anderson film. Why haven't you seen it?
I just haven't gotten around to it yet.
Then it doesn't mean that much to you,
How
man.
the fuck? They were just asking you about the I thought you've seen the sequel.
See,
No.
even your
He loves
homie
Roger
agrees with
Deakins.
you.
I know
What
that's a
the
big
fuck?
factor for him.
Dude,
You lost
Oh,
everybody in the
shit,
room, dog.
man.
You lost everybody in the room.
No,
dude.
it's fine.
You
It's
lost
fine. It's fair.
everybody, bro.
I just wonder again how fast do I want to run back to this world? I am curious because people are saying that there's more
I'll
story
say
and
this,
character in
look.
the second one. I'll give it a fair
Blade
shot.
Runner-
Even Chuck.
I'll say
popped in
this:
and was like,
the first time I saw Blade Runner was in school as well. My English teacher showed it to us.
Okay,
I
in
was
high
like,
school.
I just know
No, this was
In
college.
college. Okay.
This was like
every
I was
time
like,
I've come back to it, I just feel like I'm gaining a little bit more each time.
yeah,
No,
Every
From-
time,
from-
I've
every
seen it at
time-
He has
least 4 or
seen it
5 more
multiple times.
Every time
But
I've
from
seen
what
it
aspect?
again,
From what aspect? The
I
way
always
filmed
get, like,
it,
a
the
new
story, or what it
perspective.
was.
You do.
like everything.
On this
Oh,
one.
okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
like
Okay.
I look at different things. For example, the first time I saw it, I only saw like whoa.
Listen,
Yeah.
I
That's the
feel
first thing that
I
catches
feel
you.
that way about 2001: A Space Odyssey, and I want to continue visiting that world because I feel like I do gain something from it. It's not a quick release, man. You broke it. No, but with this one, that's why I felt like Roger Ebert's thing made me feel better. He saw it multiple times over a 30-year course and felt
just a
didn't
Roger
feel
Ebert
different about
bitch,
it.
bro.
You know, and I feel like 2001: A Space Odyssey is gonna really fuck with me soon.
Anyways,
You probably have a tattoo of Robbie. Ebert.
Thank you
I
again.
should. Fuck.
Get out of here.
Without
Yeah.
the jaw and
Two
shit.
thumbs up
Get the
and one
fuck
of
outta
his
here,
butt
film
cheeks.
critic.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anyways, next
thank-
week we're gonna be talking about Marty McDonough's 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri.
Dude, I love this film.
It's a terrific
Remember,
picture.
if
Deep.
It is a fan
and,
request.
and if you
Oh, nice.
like this episode
3 Billboards Outside Ebbing,
and would
Missouri.
like
good.
more
It doesn't
fan
look much,
requested
have you?
films, we are ready
it's
to
good.
see
It doesn't,
them
like,
and give them
with
say a lot, but
love
it's
and
good.
care and attention.
We're ready to see them.
My bad. There's a lot of people talking. My bad.
So keep shooting us your picks.
Dude, I never seen this.
'Cause we're ready to watch.
The law
Defeated?
just- This defeated.
That's not the point of this
Confidence is to the
podcast. Jeez,
floor
look,
right
man.
now.
You guys want me to be honest or not? That's just where I sit. It doesn't mean dick.
Well,
you guys
not-
could continue
hey,
loving
hey,
the film, and it's not
hey.
gonna mean anything.
Not that honest.
Oh, I can't be that honest.
I'll just say,
Dude, I swear, man, I fucking when I was in high school, my one of my English teachers, yeah, she begged me to be in debate. Begged me. Like fucking me and like 3 other students who
Yeah,
were and then we got into a class, right? We got into a debate class or whatever. And we've named like all the other kids weren't doing shit, man.
You
Like they
made
just
them
weren't.
cry?
No, dude, but we named our team Slaughterhouse aptly. And like just fucking, and then I was like, I'm not gonna do this.
That's
Doesn't feel right.
intimidating as shit.
No, dude, but like that's like how far can I
Up
get here
next,
before?
Slaughterhouse. You
Yeah,
got this guy right here. All right, who wants it?
how far am I gonna get? I should have been a fucking lawyer, man. That's what should have happened. It
You got
doesn't.
good debate
Lawyers
skills,
are
man.
liars too, so it doesn't make me any more correct.
They're bullshitters on the spot. For
It
sure.
absolutely biggest bullshitter right here.
Next week.
Next week we're gonna bullshit about 3. That's no, I really like Martin
Yeah, no, I
McDonough.
really like
That's good.
7 Psychopaths is for me does something
He
too.
can do no wrong.
3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, starring Francis
one and only-
McDormand, Francis McDormand, Woody Harrelson, Sam Rockwell.
Sam Rockwell,
Academy
dude.
Award-winning picture. It's a great film. There's a
Oh,
lot to
dude.
talk about on this one.
Here's what McDonald's done.
I only like Sam Rockwell from Iron Man 2.
The Banshees of Inisherin.
You don't like Moon?
Sam Rockwell and
I think
Iron
you would
Man
like that
2.
one.
Yeah, that's it.
Moon?
You haven't seen
Yeah,
Moon?
Moon.
Haven't seen
That's the
Moon.
one special. Please subscribe to the podcast. And as the Lau mentioned, please send in your picks. We have I swear we have something like 20 requests, and we're going to get to them all.
I
think-
Blade Runner and 3 Billboards are like the oldest requests we have.
Yeah, you're right. So we're trying to get to them.
I
We're
think we
getting to
just lost a subscriber.
No.
No, I think they like this type of banter and back
Dude.
and forth. They don't want any us just kissing ass on the
exactly, dude. My opinion means shit, man. But there was 3 people here that liked it.
phone. Yeah, people want to hear the nitty gritty of
Who cares?
what was lacking.
So thank you guys for tuning in, and let us know what else
Subscribe,
you want to hear.
subscribe,
We'll be soon coming. We talked to Doug, and we'll be soon coming back to the Film Cafe doing live episodes. And it was
Live.
brought to our attention that we're coming up on our 100th episode of this podcast,
Of this, no.
of the WatchTower
The
Film
WatchTower,
Podcast.
yeah.
Our 100th episode, and we're thinking about doing something really special for it. So let us know. Right now, we're thinking about doing 2001: A Space Odyssey for that episode. Let us know if you guys want us to do something else, something a little more filmy. or
Yeah, a little bit
something.
more filmy.
I don't know, Jurassic Park.
Like I said, something a little more filmy.
Hey, fuck you.
Right in the park.
I had an argument with Eric in the car about Jurassic Park because I was like, "So Jurassic Park really is your favorite film? Like your favorite?" He's like, "Yeah." Why, asshole? And I'm like, And, you know, it's great. And this and that.
You
and he's-
basically gave him a that's cute answer. Like,
kind of. But
I remember my first
basically
favorite
compared
film.
it to Fast and the Furious. Like,
Apparently not.
No, I compared it to Fast and the Furious because I was like, you're supporting a fucking franchise, man. You're supporting a franchise of films. And he's like, yeah, but they're all great. And I'm like, are they? Are they really? Because Spielberg dropped out after 3, man. Like, he was
Oh,
out.
Well, that's the trilogy.
And then I kind of told him, like, there's rides, man. There's rides of Jurassic Park. Tell me how that's not similar to fucking Fast and the Furious.
Yeah, but there's also rides for Indiana
That's not a good-
Jones
that's-
and
That's a good point. That's a really good
and
point.
Back to the Future.
There used to be a Back
And
to the
Taxi
Future.
Driver.
All right, let's wrap it up.
He was like, there's a Goodfellas ride. I was like, shut the fuck up.
Everybody fight everybody.
No, but in all seriousness, thank you guys for sticking around this long. Tune into the next episode. It's gonna be great. And
Thank you,
tune in,
thank
like,
you.
let us know about the 100th episode. We want to really do it up. So hopefully you guys can join us if we do it.
Tuxedo t-shirts.
Yeah,
And-
we want to do a live thing. So let us know if you'd be into that and you come join us at the live thing.
And again, please send in your suggestions
Yes.
because I think we have a lot of free picks. Like we have a couple of like grouping months
Few
we're
months,
gonna
yeah.
do, but I think for the free,
This is over this year.
Is it really? Well, but we can still probably adapt
don't
these
ruin
picks.
the mystery. We want people to suggest.
No,
things.
yeah, for sure. Keep suggesting them.
I think we're gonna need
Yeah.
suggestions for Halloween.
Nah, he's got them all.
Yeah,
What about
we
Christmas?
got the main guy, bro.
Nah, he's got them all.
Christmas edition.
Yeah. No, I think we all have our Christmas picks more or less.
Hard.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, I don't have
Hey,
Thanksgiving.
we
coming.
could watch Thanksgiving on Thanksgiving.
Hey, I know. I haven't seen it. The Eli Roth thing.
Oh, well, yeah. I forgot about that.
What about the turkeys that murder people? What was it?
Oh, poultry guys, I love that one.
Guys.
No,
Poultry
they're not
guys.
turkeys or chickens.
Oh, sorry.
Don't be stupid.
Get it fucking right, asshole.
Thank you guys for tuning into the WatchTower Film Podcast. Good night.
Love you guys.
Everybody give it all.
Get this.
I like the movie.